making sure that we are live, we are copacetic, we are indeed good.
I gotta pull up your stream. Wherever you're hiding. There you are. Do you have a socials post I need to put out there?
Oh, I just went and had it posted.
Nice. I will get right on that.
All right, bada bing, bada boom. I want to make sure that chat is underneath us. Yeah, chat's underneath us. That's good.
Post.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, time for me to go and welcome everybody in. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Dead Air, the podcast that likes to go and come back from the dead, or talk show if you want to be about that kind of life. As for me, I'm going to be the one to jabber your jaw and make sure you keep those mandibles on tight, because we have somebody who's a very jaw-dropping guest. Somebody who comes straight from the swampy suburbs of I Will Not Dox Him. Somebody whom of which is an amazing swamp dad for all you kids out there. And also adults, as guess what? He has some burgers on the grill and good times to be talked about. As we are here to welcome in Gil Swampguy. Hi, Gil. How you doing?
Pretty good, buddy. Thanks for having me.
I was all off the cuff, but you know,
No, that's totally fine. I love it. That was great.
I love being able to do the opens. I love being able to do like all those little opens. They're so much fun. It's like it's that nice late night talk show host kind of vibe going out there. It's super exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was great. I really appreciate it.
You wanna go and introduce yourself to everybody, like make sure that like we all know what you're all about as I proceed to pin who you are.
Yeah, I am Gil Swampguy. I am a swamp creature / suburban dad VTuber. I specialize in tabletop role-playing game content. Currently running 3 campaigns, and you'll also see me run a selection of one-shots through various systems. Outside of that, sometimes I'll stream fighting games. Sometimes I will stream just goofy hangout times with friends. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the bases.
You didn't give me a lot of time.
I'm sorry. I like long walks on the beach. My favorite color is actually yellow. Surprise.
Is that why you have the highlights in your model?
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, that was entirely Forgotten's doing. It was just a happy coincidence. Let's see what else. My favorite Hot Wheels car is the Diora 2.
I mean, you don't have to pat it out that.
Oh, I don't know. I was just making sure that I gave you enough time.
Yep, you gave me enough time for me to go and have your stuff pinned like in chat. You're already like for the title of the stream as well. You're shouted out on Twitter. I think I have your name in my mouth in every single location feasible on the internet right now, besides OnlyFans or Fansly.
Yeah, I haven't made it to there yet.
Next venture.
You have heard me joke about wanting to do Fansly streams just so I have an excuse to play Honey Pop, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard. Do you want to go and divulge that to the rest of the class?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I want to make a Fansly account just purely so I can play Honey Pop.
Just be very objective about it.
Oh, not even. Just that's pretty much like I played a lot of Honey Pop and I want to stream Honey Pop, but I can't do it on Twitch.
Is it because you're good at it or because taste for artwork?
Yes. I'm not even gonna front with you. Yes. I love match 3 games and I like beautiful characters. So.
That's totally fair. See, so on the Honey Pop, my favorite one's Belly. She's
Belly's fucking awesome. I love Belly.
She is my all-time favorite.
Belly's great. But I'm blanking on her fucking name. But the teacher's my favorite.
What's
her name? Is it Yumi? No, it's not that.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Teacher Honey Pop. I'm Googling it. Aiko! Who's Yumi?
There we go.
That must be from Honey Pop too. Yeah, Aiko's my favorite.
Which I feel as if like us talking about like the different kinds of segues for like content creation might as well go and get us into this point, at least the first one that I've written down for you. What got you into content creation? What was your foray into it? As a matter of fact, what was your first thing that you streamed?
The very first thing that I streamed was Fallout 4, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd never played a Fallout game prior to that. And I had gotten it for a steep discount on Steam, and when I getting into content creation in itself was kind of one of those, like, what started as like an ADHD hyper fixation activity that like I figured I was just going to be done in a way with after a month or two, because that's how long my attention span would last. And then it just didn't happen like that. But my first stream, yeah, it was Fallout 4.
What group did you side with in that playthrough?
Oh shit. I sided with the I didn't side with the fucking the future people, not the future people. Who the fuck am I talking about?
So the Institute?
Yes, I did not side with the Institute. I didn't side with the Brotherhood.
So we got Railroad and Minutemen.
I think it was the Railroad. The Railroad was the people who were like
censor people too.
Huh?
The Railroad was very like censor people as well. Like, you know, they have their own personality in life and like actually wanting to free them. The Minutemen are just like, we need to liberate the Commonwealth. Like, we need to actually like make this place fucking safe.
Oh no. Okay, it was with the Minutemen then, yeah.
Good old Preston Garvey.
There's a settlement.
There's no settlement. Need your help. Let me mark it on your map. It's like, get your hands off my fucking Pip-Boy. Like,
get away.
Why do you keep grabbing me, dog? Like, that's how like I always felt. Like, he has to like, when people mark shit on your map, I'm pretty positive that they just grab your arm and start fucking with your Pip-Boy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Here, I'll mark it on your map. Fuck, let go of me.
What the hell? Did you put Galaga on this? Like,
right, yeah. Holy shit, this thing runs Doom now.
Like, he installed Skype, I knew it. Like,
oh no. Skype ringtone just constantly playing.
Oh my
Stealth
god.
mission, somebody tries to Skype call you. That would be hell.
God, I would hate that so much.
Gunshot sounds in the background. What do you want?
Well, it wouldn't technically sound like gunshot sounds. It would sound more like just the staticky gunshot sounds of like Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that they were able to, I think it was like on a single cell organism, they were able to run Doom on it?
I read that article. That's fucking great.
I love the fact that they could do that. Like, the concept of can it run Doom is so
that's the
humanity.
benchmark. That's that's what needs to beat in order for it to have any merit. Is it has to run Doom, and then we can talk.
So can it run Doom? Yes. All right. Then
tell me more.
You're not truly a civilization until you can run Doom on yourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Hold on.
Although I did see a post on TikTok where I think spiders have entered the Stone Age, so.
Okay, I don't like that.
I don't like it either, but I did see it, and so now I have to burden everybody else with that knowledge.
Fuck, I guess we have to go and give spiders rights. Shit. We're worried about an AI uprising. We all forgot about the spiders.
Oh, it was a clever ruse. They're working together.
Oh, I don't like that at all. I don't like that alliance.
Well, what do you? Well, hold on. What's the thing that the two have in common? The web.
I knew it.
I couldn't help myself.
See, that's a concern of mine, because now Now I'm expecting like a spider Elon Musk to be like, we need to put our collective web of minds into Minecraft.
Yeah, I'm waiting to walk outside my door one morning when I go to work and see like a spider web that's crafted into like this weird Lovecraftian image of stolen artwork.
Are you saying that spiders are going to be AI bros?
Listen, it's 2024. Anything can happen at this point.
Oh, like how like the beginning of like everything going wrong in 2020 started with that one bus in Pittsburgh, like just going through the ground.
No, it started with Harambe.
Well, there was Harambe, yes, but that was when everything was just outright going wrong. Like the moment that like what was it? That bus went through the ground was when we truly made it into the dark timeline.
I don't think I know about the bus going through the ground.
So there was in Pittsburgh, there was a bus that fell right through the road. And nobody knew what to do because nobody called the fucking tow truck to try and pull it out. No one did anything. They just kind of like watched it for basically 24 hours.
Wait, was it like a sinkhole, or did it just like fucking?
It just broke through the road.
Oh no! It pulled a Bethesda.
Yeah, it pulled a Bethesda. It was a feature.
Oh Jesus!
I
didn't hear about that.
Feature.
I'm gonna look it up later.
It was so dumb because like that was when like a lot of people were making memes about it, where it's like this is the start of like the dark timeline, and then it was during the election between Biden and Trump, where another bus somewhere else in the United States, but relatively close, also went through. That one fell through a bridge. And like no one died in either one. Everybody was fine.
Well, that's good at least. But like, I feel like that's a sign. I feel like that's an omen.
I also feel as if it's an omen. If there was a third bus, it would be, as Zach Bagans would say from Ghost Adventures, a mocking of the Trinity, and like he would just freak out, and then ask if there's a spirit amongst us.
Oh, jeez, that show's so ridiculous.
Oh my God, the house calls. They have like a whole different series where it's house calls, where Zach's not even really involved. He just sends everybody else, and it's way more competent. But the part that was really funny because my wife and I watched one, the part that was really funny was during this one house call. This guy's like, yeah, I turned this building into a haunted house attraction in Fort Gaines, like Georgia, I believe. So like he turned it into a haunted house attraction. It's like, okay, that's fair. My mom lives upstairs, and like she constantly she's always threatened and pushed down the stairs by these ghosts. And it's like,
oh my God.
It's like, okay.
Ghosts are bullying my mom.
Ghosts are bullying my mom, Zach, help. And like she actually fell down the stairs. And she busted her lip and everything, and she was like, yeah, like I'm really concerned. And like he's like, yeah, I'm really concerned too. And Zach asked the question that I was hoping would be asked, and usually they skim over it, where it's like, why don't you hold on? You don't live here. Your mom lives here. You have her live there as your caretaker for that house. But so she's getting fucked up by ghosts. You're not gonna like offer for her to live with you? Because he's like, yeah, we offered, but she just doesn't want to. And then she's like, I feel attached to the house as if I belong here. It's like, I feel
that's the ghost.
I feel like you're possessed.
Yeah, no, that's the ghost making you do that.
And like they went in, they did all of their tests and stuff. It's just, it was so wild to me with that one, because like they were talking with them, they turned off like the Wi-Fi router, they actually went and was thorough about it, like they should be. But oh my God, like the house calls are so fucking funny sometimes.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Like I really enjoy them. Anyways, so how do you balance being a parent?
That's a fantastic fucking transition. My mom got pushed down the stairs by ghosts. By the way, How's your kid doing? Oh my god.
But yeah, like but like what did actually get you into content creation? What, like, because I know that like you started with Fallout 4, you went with the Minutemen, which honestly is a very solid choice. But all in all, like when it comes towards content creation as a whole, what initially got you into it? What was that that drawing interest that kept you clicking that go live button?
I think well, I guess deep seated and not fully realized, I guess, from years ago, was when I was hanging out with one of my buddies. Well, he had called and invited me over because he was house sitting for his uncle. And he was like, "Hey man, you want to come over? I just got a 12 pack, and I just bought Dark Souls 3. We can hang out, we can have a few beers, chill in the hot tub. My uncle's got the place is awesome. You just come out and hang." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't got anything to do." So I went over and he booted up Dark Souls 3, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to play this game." I'm like, "You just bought it. It's for you. You play it." And he's like, "No, I want to watch you play it." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, he just shoves the controller in my hand. I'm like, "All right, I'll give it a shot, I guess." And then, unbeknownst to me, he had turned on an audio recording app on his phone and set it on the coffee table next to where I was sitting on the floor. And he managed to record about 45 minutes of me just screaming and crying and swearing and just generally not having a good fucking time at all, because I'm not good at those games, and I think he knew that. And then by the end of it, when I finally gave up and I like resisted the urge to just spike the controller, I gently handed it back to him. I was like, "I'm done. And then that's when I saw him reach for the phone and turn the recording off. And he's like, "You should do this for people on the internet." I'm like, "What? Where the fuck did this come from?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just had a feeling. I think this would be good for you." So then fast forward to, I want to say had to have been like late 2021, early 2022. And that's when I'd been watching VTubers for a long time. Like, I watched a lot of Zentreya. I watched a lot of who is that one girl? She was like the detective girl in
Ame?
Who?
There's Ame, who's a detective.
She's this was like, it wasn't V-Shoujo, which it was like Hololive.
Yeah, Hololive had Ame, who, like, she was like a, what was it?
It was like Watson or something. She was like a Sherlock Holmes but Watson kind of person. But I watched a lot of her like rage clips, and I was like, "This is great."
Yeah. Amelia Watson.
Amelia Watson, that's it. Yes, Ame. That's why I was getting confused. But yeah. So I was like watching all that, and I was like, like I've never been really comfortable with like showing my face on a camera and seeing it on the screen at the same time. It's like, it was very like Black Mirror-y, gave me bad vibes. And I was like, "Oh well, maybe I can try this." So like how cheap is it to get into something like this? And that's when I was hunting down for a model, which will lead into your next question. And then shit, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I basically cashed out on some stocks that I was holding on to and realized it was a losing game. Used the money to pay for the model, and then I just kind of slapped some other shit together and booted up Fallout 4 and clicked go live. And that was pretty much the start of it.
It's really pretty dope. Being peer pressured into technically streaming, and then like, because it started with just you being recorded, and it's like, yeah, you should probably do this.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing too, because like when that happened, that was like, God, 2013, 2014, whenever Dark Souls 3 first came out. That's when that happened, and I feel like that seed was planted like deep within my psychosis, and I was like,
came out in 2016.
2016, dude, years. So yeah, 2016 was when that happened, and then it took like 6 years for it to like that little seed to sprout. It's like, oh, maybe I should do this.
It's like, because it started with that, and then it started to evolve, and I might as well go and ask. It's like whenever you got your model, like your first model, what were the things that you were looking for?
I honestly had no idea. Like the closest thing I could come up with as far as like an original model was like an anatomically correct penguin that just had like a headset on and maybe a tie. And I was like, that's not fucking, no, that's, no, I don't want to do that. That's, no. Maybe, what if I just started browsing like other people's models and then maybe I'll get some inspiration or something. And so I started doing that and I was like, no, I don't really want to go like, I don't really want to go the anime route. No offense to anybody who has anime models. But I was like, I don't know, I think I want something different. And so it eventually led me to a Facebook group for people who are selling adoptables. And I was going through and I found a couple of them that were kind of interesting, but nothing that I really wanted to commit to. And then I found my original model, and I saw it and it was just calling to me is what it felt like. Like whatever expression you could see in that model's face was kind of like my entire internal dialogue. So I felt like I was like, I need this one. This one's the one. So then I messaged the seller and I was like, how much for like, just all the rights, like everything, like full stop. And they were like, yeah, it was $60 for everything. And he's like, and I'll throw in a couple other illustrations too that I have for that character. And that's when I emptied that stock account and used the money from that to buy it.
And by the way, for those of you in chat, so then you're able to go and see for yourselves, the outright initial model.
The one I fell in love with initially, yep.
Is this one on screen. This is the model in question. Look at him.
Yep.
That is his internal dialogue.
Yeah, that was I saw that and I was like, please, yes. And you see the artist tag there too. I still follow them on Twitter. I don't know if they're active anymore or not, but I saw it and I was like, yes, this is perfect. It's a swamp guy. And like at first I was like, it's a spacesuit, but then I was like, what if it's like a reverse Sandy Cheeks kind of thing? Like when SpongeBob goes into Sandy's dome and needs that helmet full of water. And then the backpack is like, it like cycles the water through. And so that's kind of the lore that I started off with. And that was the other thing too, was like coming up with lore, because I guess lore was like another thing that was really popular with being a VTuber. You needed lore for your model. So I'm like, okay, well, swamp creature. How did I become a swamp creature? Don't know. I just woke up and I was one day. How did I get my clothes? A scientist found me while researching the swamp that I lived in and made a deal that he would make a clothes and a way for me to survive outside of water and a house in exchange for letting him basically study me, like in my natural habitat and shit. And that was phase 1 Gil Swampguy.
Which I had to go and puppeteer that right in front of you. So
I saw that.
So then people were able to get that experience, like, to actually feel like what eventually became the apotheosis of who you are now. As you've gone through other kinds of design changes. And with that, like, you became like a more modernized father figure. And with that, I feel like this is where we can properly segue, as opposed to me just doing like the cold shift directly into it. So how do you balance being a parent and a content creator at the same time? And do you have any tips for people who are feeling unsure about pursuing content creation when they have other life priorities such as family life?
Well, I mean, I guess it should go without saying, first and foremost, like the family comes first. Like I am lucky enough that I have a wife who saw me doing this as a very healthy outlet for me. Because prior to that, I didn't really have much of an outlet. I played drums for a while, but that started pissing off the neighbors, and I couldn't bring the drums inside because there's no room, and it also would annoy her sometimes, and wake the baby up. Uh, and I kind of just didn't have any outlet. So when I started doing this, and she must have like noticed, like, I just seemed like I was more like fulfilled, like I had more of like a social life than I did, despite it, just being strictly online. She's a huge fan, and I'm super uh, lucky to have that kind of support. Um, as far as balancing being a content creator and a father, in the beginning, it was relatively easy because when my son was first born, I became a VTuber after my son was born. Um, I think my son was born in October of 2021, and I became Gil Swampguy and started streaming in February of 2022. Um, and back then, like from then up until like basically he became a toddler, it was relatively easy. I was doing like maybe 3, even 4 nights a week. Um, like I would get home from class and I would just go at it and stuff. Because for the most part, during that first year, there's not really much the dad can do except for like change diapers or help like clean up the house and stuff, which happily. But outside of that, like the child is still super attached to their mother. And so even if I wanted to just like take him and go do stuff, he's a newborn, he's an infant.
Yeah.
And B, like he doesn't want that. He wants to be with his mother. So I had a little bit more free time back then to do it then, but now that he's a toddler and things have like kind of kicked up at work and with the apprenticeship and everything, that's when I was like, okay, there's all this other stuff. Like, I really want to be a huge part in my son's life. Like, I want to spend as much time with him as possible, but I still like want to do this when I'm able to. So that's when my wife was like, Saturday nights are all yours. You can stream if you want to, you can do this. Saturday nights are entirely for you. And then we balanced that by Sundays is where I would let her like sleep in, and I would take him out of the house or go play with him somewhere, and that way she could have her moment of her alone time. And I think that's another really big factor in balancing content creation and family life, is being able to strike that balance and being able to come up with like a scheduled plan, essentially. And like being able to do stuff like this, it's just a matter of like, hey, I want to do Dead Air on the 11th. Would that be, or whatever? And I was like, okay, yeah, just let me make sure that my wife doesn't have anything to do because she's also in school. She's about to actually finish her bachelor's in psychology.
Let's go.
Yeah, so and she's going to be entering the master's program this fall. So she, it's like, do I have any papers that are due that I need to work on that night, or do we already have plans with people? And then if all that clears, then that's when it's like, okay, yeah, I can make it. It's definitely about having that level of being able to go to your partner and be like, hey, I've got this thing coming up. Is there anything that we have going on? If so, that's fine. If not, I would like to do this thing. And it's not just asking permission. It's just communicating.
Yeah.
Which I think is just important in every relationship. And so, yeah, I'm like I said, a lot of the content creation, family life balance is primarily thanks to my wife, who's just, like I said, been super supportive of me doing this, like from Jump Street.
Which, like, cause that leads into like something with me, like, cause with my wife and I, we, we actually communicate in roundabout the same manner, where, like, I go and we have a dedicated day to us. Nothing
Mhm.
is to get in the way of that day, and then it's
Yep.
Tuesdays. I do not stream on Tuesdays unless she's like, I don't really feel like doing anything today. We don't, like, it's like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to watch movies. How about we just do our own thing? It's like, okay. I might do a gorilla stream, but I will
Right.
never schedule streams on my date day with my wife. I will,
Yeah.
like, that is the dedicated day per week that I do stuff with my wife. The weekends, we've already come to the conclusion that it's like, because we work, we are just meant to just relax and unwind directly after work. We are to not really like worry too much about spending time together. But Monday, whatever time I have free, whatever time she has free, we tend to spend time together. Usually we go and we watch like TV shows. Like we try to go and figure out like, different things. And then the same thing applies with like Wednesdays and Thursdays. Is like, if I didn't have anything scheduled, then we just spend time together. And
Yeah.
usually whenever, like for sake of example, with her family, because every now and again, like, because they don't have vehicles and I'm the one with the vehicle, I'm usually asked, it's like, hey, can you take so and so to a doctor's appointment? Or, hey, is it okay if we just go and head down to see my parents? As much as I love my community and as much as I love the online friends that I've made, I have brought up multiple times to them that my IRL life comes first.
Absolutely.
And with that, that also includes, that of course includes my wife and her family.
Right.
So I will like be like, hey, I'm gonna have to cancel stream. It's like, oh, come on, like, are you sure? It's like, I am positive because this is something important. This is a doctor's appointment. This is just us being able to go and see family. My wife is homesick. She wants to go and spoil her sister for her birthday. Like, all of these things. All of that will take priority over me being on the internet. It's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just part of the course. Like, that's just how it is, and that's my brass tacks.
Yeah. Same here. Like once my son gets old enough to start getting into like extracurricular activities and like clubs and stuff, like that's obviously going to take priority
Oh,
for
absolutely.
like me being able to be there for those things
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And like I said, my wife, like Sundays are like the days where I like now, like she'll wake up and or we'll all wake up and maybe she'll sleep in or however ends up working out, and we'll have breakfast together. And I'll tell her, it's like, hey, we're gonna go to the park, and we're just gonna like kill a couple hours at the park, and then we're gonna go bouncing around and check out some stuff and maybe grab lunch or something. And we're typically gone between, I want to say, like 11 to like 6 o'clock. And sometimes that even involves me driving up north to the city and just finding stuff to do there. Just, because I get to spend, quality one-on-one time with my son, but also she gets that much needed, break from uh, just be able to hang out and vibe. And maybe all she does is just sit in her room and play Dreamlight Valley and eat cheesecake, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
If that's all she wants to do, that's perfectly fine. Let me get the kid out of the house and I'll go hang out with him, and we're gonna have our time and you have your time. That way, because the Saturday nights are my time, so that's when I get to do the streaming and stuff, and that's when she swaps sides on that one.
And I
And
suspect that there are times to where with you two, if there's an event that's happening on a Saturday that you would be streaming, and it's something that's like maybe for her or her family, or you and your family, or something for your son, by chance, like I like what would you do? I suspect I already know the answer, as you are a rather reasonable young man. As you're like, I think a year older than me.
Yeah.
But it's like, what would you do? Like, where would that compromise be?
I mean, the compromise obviously falls on the side of family, and typically, I know about when these events are going to be, upwards of like a month away, because my wife knows that with my like anxiety brain and stuff, she knows that I really appreciate having like a schedule, like everything's planned. And so I know what's coming. There's no surprises, nothing like that. So typically like around now is when I would ask her like, hey, what do we have going on in May? Like specifically like, on the weekends and stuff. And like I know I think the first or second Saturday of May is when she actually graduates with her bachelor's, and her family's going to be in, and my family is going to want to be a part of it too. So that weekend's out, just outright. And I will work everything around that.
Okay. Yeah, that was the answer that I was actually figuring you were going to go for. Because, like I said, you are very reasonable. You are a rational thinking individual, and of course, like you have proper moral values, proper family values in that regard. And I'm like that's why I enjoy like being your friend, because you're somebody that has ideologies that your community as well as your friends are able to not only look up to but idolize in a way. Not in an unhealthy way, of course, as I desperately want to be parasocial with you. Brother. But with that being the case, though, like, it's what makes me happy to know that there are people such as yourself that are positive influences in the VTubing space, as well as for parents and content creators as a whole, as it's not necessarily VTubing as it is more just content creation and being somebody whom of which doesn't matter size of your following, you have a level of influence upon the individuals that want to watch you. So with that, I am extending my thanks to you for being who you are and being a representative of a positive outlook on not only life but also values.
I thank you. I've been squishing my face this entire time, just like because you know, like very very well how hard it is for me to take compliments.
Mm.
So to get like that fucking Eddie Gordo combo of fucking compliments like that.
Listen, like, people deserve to be able to be complimented. They deserve to be able to be praised, as long as it doesn't go to their head and make them into exactly what the opposite is of that praise. I am praising you for being somebody whom of which is like a positive force for content creators, and somebody that provides that positivity and exemplifies that positivity towards everybody that's in your community and everybody you interact with. So with that, it's like, it's not only me patting you on the back, but you should pat yourself on the back, as these are the values that you were able to instill upon yourself, either through the actions of others and the influences of others, or just outright what you, with your gumption, did upon yourself to mold yourself into something that is better than what your viewpoint on yourself is. Where you, because I'm not going to go into like the weird psychoanalysis of it, but like,
I'll leave that to my wife. She's really good at it.
I mean, she's getting her bachelor's and going to the master's program. So I mean,
oh yeah, no, she was able to read me like a book from the first day.
From day one, off of that nice little like dating profile.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, a lot of us are in our own heads. We don't believe that we're as good as we like should be or how we actually are. And we tend to go and hold ourselves back because we're afraid that we aren't good enough. And with that, you may not believe in some regards that you are making as much of an impact as you are, but that is where you are, pun intended, dead wrong. As otherwise, why would I be praising you so much? Why would other people be saying it? Because you're not the one that's allowed to have judgment upon yourself. It's the judgment of others that is the perception that you are able to have. What you see in the mirror is not truth. It's what makes up that person in the mirror that is the truth. Word.
Thank you.
No problem, pufferfish man, as you're just like squishing your face together.
Shut up. Can you see me?
No, but you fucking said you were doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, but like it's, I don't know. I don't know whether it's just like the life experiences that I've had to deal with or just the people that I've known throughout the 31 years of my run on this planet. It's just so much easier to not be an asshole. And like, yeah, like
being nice is free.
Yeah, being nice is free. And like, yeah, I have like those moments where I'm just like, he's a motherfucker, just a piece of shit. But like, that's basically it's an empty cartridge. It's not like, it's not my true outlook. Like, I don't think everything's like actually horrible and everyone's an asshole except for me. It's super convoluted in that, like, I feel like you have to put in a lot of work to be a real dickhead.
Yeah. It takes a conscious effort to do that.
It really is. It's not something that that just comes easily and freely. Like, you have to like learn a bunch of heinous shit. You have to like do and say a bunch of heinous shit.
And you have to surround yourself with it too. You have to
Yeah.
actively digest being a dick.
Yeah, yeah. And like, not to say that it's just the easier option, which I mean, naturally it kind of is the easier option, but why would you destroy yourself for the sake of destroying somebody else?
Yeah. And especially for like those of them, like the people that are dicks, that make the conscious effort to be an obstinate bastard. Those people, why is it that like they're putting in that much effort? Because it requires them to hold on to that amount of like anger and frustration. Like, I get it. It's easy to just reject stuff, but you don't have to do it in a negative way. You can positively reject something as opposed to just negatively accepting your own perception. Because some of them are like, oh, I'm like this because I'm real. It's like, if you dealt with somebody with your personality, would you be happy?
Fuck no.
Exactly. So it's like, it's like, why would you put energy into it then? Just put in the energy to go and be nice to people, because it's, both of them are free, but one of them causes you to shrink your bubble to a suffocating dimension.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's like, and to preface clear back into it to where it's like, yes, not having the belief that like, everybody is an asshole, like, everybody is capable of being kind and everybody's capable of being nice, and being nice is free. Why aren't you nice to yourself?
Oof. Trauma.
Same.
Yeah, no, but like, yeah, that's like just genuinely something that I struggle with, like, because it's super easy for me to like be like, like Undead, you've made like this, your incredible community, you've made all these awesome creative projects, and you've done all this amazing work, and you have this wonderful marriage, and you have like all these wonderful things. And you're a super great person, and I'm super happy that I know you and get to call you a friend. And then, but when you like throw that pendulum back in my direction, it's like my first instinct is just dodge. It's like, no, it's not like, it's no big, it's whatever. If
you can dodge a compliment, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, no, and I'm matrixing those bitches, just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But I'm trying to be better. Yeah, no, that's you. That's you landing the metaphorical dodgeballs.
which, like, because with me, the reason why I pursued so many projects that I have and accomplished as much as I did is if I didn't feel as if I had something to physically show that I am accomplished in who I am, then I would not feel accomplished with myself and I would just feel empty.
Same.
As I'm somebody that, even though I live a minimalist lifestyle where I don't really like having that much stuff, at the very same time, it's also perpetrated for me that I don't have a lot to be proud of. And that is something that, like, it actively brings me down. I'm happy that I have a wife that reminds me that I am more than just physical possession or achievements, that I am somebody whom, like, through just my own mindset being turned into a grind set and being as pursuant of so many different avenues to just try and either master it or at least say I've tried, her being able to support me in all of these endeavors has been very eye-opening to me. And of course, like, you have the same thing with your wife, to where she is very, like, supportive of whatever you're doing, and the fact that you two communicate as well as you do, and both of you have you have your priorities actually set. They are proper. And the fact that you're able to juggle not only working, but also classes, streaming, you're able to juggle, like, just doing some of the social media interaction that you do. You are able to juggle the intimacy of your relationship as well as taking care of your offspring, little Gil. So all of that, the fact that you were able to do so much, proves that you are more of a role model than what most people say that they are. You are exactly what a role model should be. And I know, like, this has basically been me expounding compliments at you, and we'll get back to the questions. But yeah, like, I feel like with all of that, we could jump a little bit ahead in the questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Where in regards to, your wife, like, what steps have been taken to make streaming, work, parenting, and intimacy all balance out?
Again, the primary source is just communication. Like, she obviously has her days where, she gets overloaded, as like all of us do. Like, we'll have like a day where it feels like the world is crushing us beneath its weight. And like, that's something that, I am able to, like, help her out with. Like, if I notice that she's going through a rough patch and she just needs some time to breathe, she needs to, like, center herself, however she wants to do it, then yeah, like, and she asks me sometimes, like, it's like, hey, I just need like 2 hours to just, like, sit in the dark and just, like, recenter myself. Can you hang out with him in the meantime? And I'm like, that's a dumb question. Of course I will. Like it's for all the support and stuff that she has given me through not only this, but literally anything that I've ever pursued, as far as like a hobby or just something that I wanted to, like, make, or something that I wanted to try, through all of my, like, hyper fixation little projects or temporary hobbies that I've gathered. She's always been like, yeah, go for it. And like, I love hanging out with my son, and I'm not saying that, like, it's the least that I can do to take him off of her hands for a little bit, but it in the same time, it really is. And as far as, like, us kind of still keeping, like, the flame alive, not that it's work to do so, really, we schedule times for, like, it's like, oh, hey, maybe on this day we can leave him with your mom, and, like, maybe we can go and check out this store that I've really wanted to check out, or go try this restaurant, or maybe just have, like, a little date night where we like, just take him to my mom's, and then we come back to the house and we, like, watch a movie and make popcorn and just cuddle on the couch. It's like, yes, I'm in. Let's do it.
See, I've loved doing that for the date nights with my wife, where so we have like this little red Solo cup full of popsicle sticks that have a bunch of different movies on them, and we'll like shake it up. We'll draw 2 movies, so it's like I draw one and she draws one, and then we pick between the 2 movies. And if we have time that day, we'll watch both. We just have to pick what one we watch first. And some of them are like, hey, here's this really cringe movie that we're just gonna make fun of, and we're going to enjoy making fun of it, or here's this movie that one of us has really been wanting to watch, or here's a movie that neither of us have watched. Like as of recently, because I had never watched John Wick before, we're like, let's watch the first John Wick, see what all the hype is about it, because I was a hopeless hipster where it's like, I don't want to watch it, it's too popular, it's too mainstream, and it's like,
Oh my god, I do that same contrarian shit.
it's so dumb. And it's like, and I watched it, and I'm like, I really like John Wick. I like John Wick. Why was I such a piece of shit about it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because like, why am I going out of my way to be unhappy? Like, what? Like,
that's exactly what it is. And like, there's like a lot of games that I have never played because of that. And like a lot of games that I have played because either I developed FOMO or one of my buddies like gifted it for me. It's like, hey, try this game out. And I'm like, oh, that's that fucking popular one where you go around and you have to fucking pick up trash and, you know, and there's monsters chasing you. It's like, that's, I don't know, man. I'm not very fucking... And then, you know, I try it out and it's like, okay, this is actually kind of fun. It scares the piss out of me, but you know, with friends, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. And it's like,
and now I'm like, what the fuck was I being such a dickhead about?
Exactly. Cause it's like, you're going out of your way to stop yourself from being happy. And it's like this weird thing that we do, because it's like, who are you doing this for? Like, who are you like trying to impress by saying you don't like something? If everybody likes it, then why not at least give it a try? Like, I get if it's expensive. If it's the price tag, that is a completely understandable reason, because not everybody has the dosh to be able to toss at games.
Yeah.
Like, games, movies, etc. Like, movies are getting too expensive. Games are hitting $70 price tags, which is absurd.
Oh, I know. I spent it for Tekken.
I'm saying this, like, in my honest opinion, when it comes towards, like, $70 games... I wholesale expect replayability from that game, and I wholesale expect from that game to, like, I would say 1/5 of the time. So, like, basically, like, 2 times out of 10, 1 time out of 5. I expect it to be good in that regard, where it's like 1 out of every 5 $70 games is decent or good. I don't think that there's going to be any great games that are $70. I think they will be good at the most.
Yeah. And the way that I've kind of started justifying purchasing video games, or really anything in that matter that's not like, you know, going towards bills or food, obviously, is like broken down like, you know, every dollar should be worth how much time that I'm ultimately going to spend with it.
Yeah.
Like, so like I bought Tekken 8 for $70 fucking dollars. And so my mentality is that, you know, I should be able to enjoy this game for $70.
Yeah.
And just pulling up my Steam library right now as it is, I bought it when it first dropped, which I think was I bought it a while ago, not very long. I think like maybe a month or maybe 5 weeks ago. And I already have 12, almost 13 hours in it. So I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Played March 21st was when I ultimately bought it. So yeah. So between March 21st and now, I've put 13 hours in, and I think that's a pretty good track.
Yeah, that's a pretty good track. Like, how many hours do you think you have to put into Tekken 8 to make up the $70 price?
So, when you now I'm starting to.
Oh damn! You turned into a robot.
Oh shit. Here, I'm gonna pause this.
That's why.
Oh, you had a connection drop.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Nah, it's all good. It'll come back.
Okay.
It does it like whenever it's around this time. I don't know why Comcast does it.
Oh.
There we go. We should be back.
It says that you're back, I think. It's still showing offline, but like now there's like a timer.
Oh yeah, now we're back.
Okay, cool.
We are indeed back. So anyways, back on that. So with that being the case, in terms of like the amount of time that you would spend in the game, how much playtime do you need to go and put in for it to be worth that $70 price tag to you?
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I was just thinking, I was like, well, see, now it kind of turns my own logic on its head, because I spent $70 on Tekken. I'm 13 hours in, and I already love this fucking game. Like, to me, it's already worth it.
Okay, so it's more the experience than the hours. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think going into it, it's like, oh, well, if it's a $20 game, I should be able to play it for $20 and be kosher. But obviously, like in the case of Tekken 8, I spent $70. I'm already 13 in, and I'm already like, this was great, like totally worth the money. So I don't know, maybe it's like just case by case basis, or maybe that's just how I justify the money spending aspect of it itself.
Okay, so it's like if you didn't like the game, how much playtime would you want to go and put in until it's like considered worth it to you?
I mean, if I didn't like the game, I probably would just stop and then consider it a loss and move on.
Okay.
Like I did with BeamNG Drive, because I saw all those TikToks of those people doing all this wild shit with the crazy card game, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play it. I'll see what's going on. And it's like, oh, this is actually kind of not really what all that's about, and I have to do all this shit myself and set it all up myself, and wow, this game's kind of buggy, and it's like, fuck, this sucks. Oh well, good thing I bought it on sale. And then I'm just like, it's whatever.
Yeah, I can feel that. Because it's like I have a lot of games that are basically sitting in the graveyard known as my Steam library. No pun intended with me just being, a skeleton. Let's see, let's see what other questions that we have here, because I like that we're able to go into like this dynamic of like we start talking about something and like we answer the question and then we move into like this nice bigger topic.
Oh yeah,
kind of like what you wanted in the first place. Like, because you and I were talking about that before I hit start stream.
Yeah, and honestly, of all the the talking, like talk show interview kind of things that I've done, you're the only one who's actually sent me the questions in advance, so I knew what was coming.
Yeah, because I don't want to blindside somebody, and what if they have something where it's like, I didn't think about this. I want to go and talk about this.
Oh yeah, there was a couple of those where I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about this as a potential question. And like most of the time, like it's just like, okay, here's this question, and now I'm like, And
then now like I have you left stammering, and it makes you look like a fool. And I don't want you to go and look like that. I want it to where like you're coming in, you know what you're getting into, you know your answers to your questions, or at least have them semi-fresh in your head, and you're able to actually like be as coherent as possible. The things that we're more than welcome to stammer on is whenever we go off topic.
Oh yeah.
And now we're like going into our drive of talking about like, I got this really awesome dice that has rubber ducks in it, or it's like something like that.
I actually found a dice set that has burgers in them.
Oh my god.
I know. I was so fucking floored when I found it.
Are you gonna like? Is it like an Etsy thing, or is it like
No, I went to a random ass tabletop store because my wife and I and my son, we were just driving around because I think he had a haircut appointment and we're normally not in that part of the city, and we were just like, hey, let's just see what's around here, and just make a day out of it. So like we stopped by some like metaphysical shops and checked out some stuff, and we went to a bunch of like little mom and pop stores, and I was like looking up tabletop stores, and I was like, oh hey, there's this one, and it's obviously like a privately owned, like not a chain thing. I was like, let's go see. I want to kind of go see what they got going on, and so we went, and it was just kind of sitting. It must have been either made by them or ordered through somebody, but like I just saw it sitting in the display, kind of like with all the other like kind of generic dice sets. And I was like, what the fuck's on the inside? Are those are burgers? And I showed it to my wife. I was so excited. It was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, look, and she's like,
you went like full gremlin mode on the mic.
I really did. Yeah, no, I went real full gremlin mode in the store too. And she took him in her hand and she looked at him and she's like, oh yeah, it's just like your VTuber thing. And I'm like, yes, it is. And I looked at the price tag and I'm like, worth it. And she's like, no, wait, bring that back. How much is it? That was already gone.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, that is merch that I 100% am wholesale wanting to see from you. Is not only like the Gil Swampguy dice that have the little burgers in them. I want it to where you have like a tower, like a dice tower that's a grill. I want it to where like the logo is like the spatula and like the tongs just like side by side with like the little fire, but the fire is actually like your hair swoosh and has the glasses resting right on top of it. That's what I want. I want that as like the logo for it, and it's like just it's swamp merch. Like that's what I want.
The dice that so for my logo, which was also made by Forgotten. Basically, outside of my original model, any art that you see is like 99% of it was made by Forgotten. But they made my new logo, and I want dice that are like that, which it's just like the standard, like, dice set, but they're painted to look like burgers. I think that would be rad as hell. And then like maybe instead of the white lettering, do like green.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
I could see that being like if I had like the Gil Swampguy custom dice set, that's it.
Let me get this up on stream so that people can go and see like what your logo is. Yep. There it is. It's like I could totally see that. It's perfect. Oh, it's slightly transparent. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I don't rock the fishbowl anymore, but the fishbowl is still getting its good use.
I'm gonna set this like right in the center of the table. There we go. You can sit right there. Gil Swampguy. Which that also reminds me. So something I want to do. Let's see here. So I'll make sure I go in and get the username correct. Giving a big old shout out to Forgotten.
Big old shout out to Forgotten. We love Forgotten here.
Because Forgotten also did my rigging for my chibi model.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hella grateful for what they did. It's like they pursue like a lot of eclectic projects and are incredibly capable whenever they go and they put their minds to it. Like, well, their mind to it. Like, absolutely. I am very appreciative of Forgotten. Also, I love like the wine ant energy that they bring.
Oh my god, yes. Absolutely. I've kind of I've kind of tagged Forgotten as like the Sam Riegel to my Matt Mercer. Because like they bring that kind of energy to every game that I've ever played with them, and it's fantastic. And that it definitely shows in the Call of Cthulhu campaign that they're in, that I run for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've
and
seen them like perform as their character, and it's like I love their roleplay performance.
oh, they such a strong role player.
I got that from when I was doing everyday bare bones, like everyday bare bones with them. That was really great roleplay from Forgotten. I love how they do things. And their interactions with like people that they've never met before too. Like I thought that was phenomenal. Like very personable. You should go follow them.
Yes.
Which let's see. So we talked about what got you into content creation, balancing being a parent and a content creator, steps that you've taken to go and balance out, like streaming, work, parenting, and intimacy with your partner. Now I want to go and move into like some of the ones that I feel like are going to have answers that say I am Gil Swampguy. Might as well go and start with the first one because it'll definitely lead to the next two. What were your biggest hurdles when it came towards content creation and coming into the content creation space?
It was definitely, for sure, my social anxiety. And because I've gotten a little bit better since then and since doing this, but when I was first starting content creation, like if you met me in person, I probably wouldn't have talked to you purely out of fear. And like if it was set up in a way to where like my wife and your wife were meeting for lunch and we got pulled along and like they're gonna go do their thing and now we're hanging out by ourselves, I'm going to be like the most closed in, shut down person ever. And I really wanted to try to pursue this because it was, for me, it was like it'll be a fun thing to do for like a month or two before I lose interest and then just kind of completely kill the whole project entirely. So whatever. But still, like I had no idea on how to use socials properly. I had no idea how to promote myself. I had no idea how to engage in conversation with other people. And that part I knew I was going to have to get over eventually if I wanted this to maybe even have the slightest snowball's chance in hell of becoming something. And yeah.
Like, so I can get that. Also, by the way, if we did ever meet up, like if it was that case where it's like, hey, our wives knew each other and like they wanted to go and hang out, and it was like just you and I being left as either tag-alongs or just told, hey, go somewhere else and like just hang out. Like you guys have some stuff in common, right? I feel like what would happen is it would initially start off as like us like being a little awkward, and then I'm going to say it's like, is there a food court here? You want to get something to eat?
Hell yeah. And
then we would sit like we would just order, get something to eat. We would probably be fighting each other for who should pay. It's like, listen, I'll pay for you. It's like, no, I can pay for myself. It's like, no, I got this. It's like, no, you don't have to pay for me. I can pay for myself. It's like, okay, how about this? Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. No, that's totally accurate though.
We rock, paper, scissors. The loser's going to be a bit salty about it. We're going to sit down, and what's going to happen is the person that won is probably not going to enjoy their food that much, and the person that lost is going to be like, man, would have been nice. It would have probably tasted better if I won, huh? and then that's where like the friendship would butt. Like that's where I think they would butt.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like just starting into the scene, and like I didn't know anybody coming into this, like some people get into content creation or just having an online persona because they know somebody else who also does it. Like I knew jack diddly shit no one, and I was frequently browsing like all of the drop your model here and tell us about yourself. And I was just constantly scrolling like, okay. They seem like a cool person. I'm just going to very like silently like drop them a follow. And oh, Jesus, they followed me back. Oh, no. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, no.
That's how I fucking feel.
They sent me a GM. Oh, a DM. Oh, my God, no. Oh, no. Now what do I do? Fuck. And that was like for like maybe the first like few months. That's how that was.
And honestly, it's like, because there are people that make friends in the space, like in the content creation space, by like, just interacting with other people's content.
Mm-hmm.
There's times to where it's like, oh, hey, there's this big streamer, or here's like the small streamer. Here's just this streamer in general, this content creator. They have a Discord. I'm gonna join it because I really like their content.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, they see that you're interacting a lot in their Discord, and then, like, now you and that content creator are talking, and then you become friends, and then you're invited to collabs, and then you're making content, and it's like, how did I get down this rabbit hole? I thought this was like a month ago. How am I getting start streaming?
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it pretty much was. Like, and like I saw all the other like fresh VTubers that are starting out, like they're posting like these big intro posts and like hashtag VTuber, hashtag VTuber EN, and like it's like, I'm this guy, I do these things, and this is kind of what I'm about. And then like you get hit with like somebody that's like, hey, that's a really cool model design, follow. It's like, hey, I like that thing too, follow. DMs. It's like, oh shit, oh no, people want to people want to talk to me. Oh no.
Dude,
what the hell?
Meanwhile, like, here's us. Like, you and I have drastically different art styles for who we are.
Yeah.
Like, because yours has, like, that kind of, like, soft kind of, like, yours is very approachable, just in general. Me, I'm, like, I'm extremely, like, detailed and realistic as a skeleton. And it's like, us being in like the same stream, it feels like, man, this is some Avengers level like crossover shit.
Right? I always love seeing those memes where it's like the VTuber collab and it's like these wildly different like characters.
Yes.
That's the best. I think that's honestly one of my favorite things about
it's across the VTuberverse.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Thank you, Strawberries and Cream Dr. Pepper, for cleansing my palate.
Very good.
Wetting my whistle, as it were. It's like, but that's like some of the cool shit that happens with like, VTubing and content creation is like, it's not about like how you start, it's about who was around you when you start and where they are now after you have started. And it's like having that support structure of like, other people who are in space, or even just other people who are like, they started off as fans and became friends. Like, obviously, like, hopefully not in the parasocial sense, but like, it's healthy boundaries, of course. But
yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very happy to say that like a lot of the people that I very first interacted with when I became a VTuber, I am still very close with. Like I'm pretty sure Shobra of the Shadows was like the first person to see my post of like, hey, I'm Gil Swampguy, this is my deal. And like he was the first person to like reach out and like message me or follow me or anything. And like we still hang out and do stuff, and like we're doing like karaoke night, and we're still buddies, and like he'll call me if he has like something that he wants to get off of his chest or whatever, and I'll get a hold of him if I'm having trouble with something. And it's really cool to see how friendships can just grow from essentially nothing. It's just from the perspective of, oh, hey, he's like, you're a swamp creature, that's really cool. And me being like, oh, they're a fucking shadow shapeshifter dude with a cool voice mod thing, that's rad. And then now we're buddies. It's wild.
When I decided to go and give them a shout out, I use like the base shout out because like it's at least like going to prompt people to actually give a follow. But at the very same time, it's like, because I also enjoy Shobra. Like I enjoy that like they stay in character, like even off stream. I enjoy the fact that like, because I watched you and him play Spelunky. I remember one.
Spelunky?
Yeah, I think it was Spelunky that you two were playing. or Shovel Knight. I don't remember which.
Shovel Knight. That's right. Because oh god, that was a fun little project. He was going through the Spectre Knight game.
Mm-hmm.
And originally he was wanting to do like this huge pool of people to like do all the different voices of the characters. And what it eventually just boiled down to was just me and him. And so he asked me to do the voice of Spectre Knight. And we had a lot of fun. It was a great time. It kind of felt like half like acting scenario, half like Game Grumps session.
I was figuring it was very Game Grumps because like when I was watching it, it was very Game Grumps because you just laughing your ass off while like he's playing the game, like and struggling in like the one bit where like you had to go and jump over this one chasm. I thought it was fucking funny. I loved that because you're just laughing the whole time.
Oh my god, it's great. It's nice to be the Danny to somebody's Aaron for a change because usually I'm the Aaron. As very well evidenced from the 10.5 hour getting over it stream that I did.
Oh my god,
that was brutal.
Yeah, but you suffered with your head held high. That's a matter.
It was something. I just remember experiencing real life lag towards the end of it. Like your brain says, okay, now I'm going to move my arm and do the thing. And then like 2 seconds later, my arm moves and does the thing. And it's like, this is wrong. Something's wrong. I need to stop now.
The air around me is turned into molasses. Am I sweating that hard? It's like you just go and yell in slow motion for your wife.
Oh God, no! I have gotten those before where like I would be playing like Getting Over It or literally anything, and my wife will just message me and be like, "Are you okay down there?"
Which that leads into this next part. It's like what has been the biggest relief in your day-to-day life? Like just outright on the day-to-day when the day is just burning you out, when it's dragging you down.
This is probably going to sound like the most because a lot of fathers I know have also said this, but it's so like unless you have a kid for yourself, like you know exactly what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I work a 12-hour day and I'm like maybe I'm in like a solar field and I've been out in the rain and pulling heavy objects, lifting heavy objects. I'm beat, pissed, tired. My foreman's been yelling at all of us the whole time. Just bad day. And then, you know, I drag myself to my car. I drive home. I force myself to stay awake through the drive. I get out of my car. My legs feel like they've got 30-pound weights on them. Shuffle up the stairs to my front door, open the door, and as soon as I walk in, because I know he's sure as shit not asleep, I see him, like, he would be like sitting on the couch and like watching Paw Patrol or something, and then he sees the door open and looks at me and he just goes, "Daddy home," and then rushes towards me and hugs me, and it's like just everything fucking melts away. Like everything, like it's the living reset button, and it's given me that the validity of everything that I do. Like, yeah, I go to work, and while I may enjoy my particular career and the stuff that I sometimes get to do during my work, it is hard work, and it's long hours. And it's being in the apprenticeship, it's a lot of class and learning and cramming and reading and tests and stress. And then there's the financial aspect of everything, because I have my house and I have a car payment and I have him to take care of, and my wife's in school, so I take care of the bills and all this other bullshit and my anxiety and this, that, and the other. And then I get home and my son looks at me and his eyes light up and he opens his big toothy grin to smile at me, and then he runs over and hugs me and says, "Daddy home, love you, Daddy." And it's all fucking worth it. Every goddamn sweat, tear, and drop of blood is suddenly just worth it.
I can feel that. I know it's like it's not something that I've actually told my wife, surprisingly enough, but like when I'm having a really shit day, I just need a hug.
Yeah.
That's it. Just a
Yeah.
hug. If I'm having a bad day, I need a hug. And then like all of the negative thoughts that are clouding my judgment, that are clouding my mood, all of that just pushes back. Like I can see through the fog. And
Yeah.
it's like, thinking rationally. Fuck, this feels like it was a day ago. I'm surprised it's happening now. Like that is how it works for me. Like the moment I receive a hug from my wife is the moment that like all of that just kind of pushes away and I can start to think rationally and my mood is lifted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like it's having that positivity. Like and it's the type of affection that you can't get from much else. Like I've talked about this. I think I've said this on stream before. And I don't know whether or not I told you this story, but it's all about the people that you have around you and the people that you've made like these connections with that can really show you how much you matter, and especially show you that each day is more and more worth it, knowing that you've made this impact. The example that I have here is that this was like before my wife. This was with my ex-fiance, and I broke things off because I caught her cheating. I didn't confront her about the cheating because why would I? What am I getting out of it? So I'm just breaking it off. You already made your decision. Get out of my house.
Mm-hmm,
and she had moved out. It didn't take her long to move out either, which really solidified the point. And what happened was like my friends were all staying over to like make sure I was okay. I was not my most graceful moment in life, but like I was crying in the shower. I was down. I was just down. And my buddy came in, my buddy Bobby, he came in, he handed me a Big Mac. And I ate it in the shower because if I'm already low, I might as well eat something that makes me feel low. I'm eating a Big Mac. So I ate my Big Mac, got out, dried off, got dressed. I came downstairs, and as I was coming downstairs, I'm like, who's this guy in the leather jacket? Because it's been forever. It's like it's been since college that I saw him. And it was my buddy Dan. And he was standing there. He had 2 beers. He handed me one. And he said, "You want to talk about it?" None of my friends told him. Nobody told him. He said he had a feeling. He got on his motorcycle and he drove up to see me. And I'm like that is where I really started to go and turn my life around and to really like do some inward focus. So that is where it's like it's having that level of perspective, and it's like everybody has their own, because you don't have to be married, you don't have to have a kid, you don't even have to have like that many friends. You just need one. Like everybody needs at least one person that can act as an anchor. It is not their job to be your anchor, though. It is nobody's job, because that is not a burden you should put on anyone. But if they truly are, like, you know, for some people, best friend, for others, a good friend, family member, they're fine with having that burden, because to them it's not. To them it's not a burden. To them, it's something that they're happy to do. And when my buddy Dan showed up that night and asked me if I wanted to talk about it, I don't feel as if like I've been that close with any of my guy friends, and it put that into perspective to where it's like I should be closer with them. These are my brothers. And that's why it's like they were my best men at my wedding. I couldn't pick just one. They are all my best men. got that hope core going.
Damn right. Damn right.
Which might as well go and do the follow up for this. What are some comforts that you take in your day to day? Like what comfort food, maybe a comfort show or movie, some music. Like do you just go out on drives, maybe an activity that you do, like hiking? Like what is a comfort? Like what are some comforts that you have in your life?
I think a lot of my comforts are very music based. Like I can typically ease myself down if I'm listening to the right thing, which is hard for me to pick a lot of the times purely because my there's a TikTok account that calls it polygamorous, where you just have music in where you just love music from like all these different genres. And I think I'd like to credit my upbringing for me not being like I only listen to metal or I only listen to country like kind of mentality, because like my dad raised me on like classic rock and like 80s hair metal, and my mom raised me on like modern contemporary stuff like Matchbox 20 and shit like that. My aunt, whenever I would hang out with her, she listened to a lot of Ozzy and Metallica, and then like kind of just through my own like middle school was super formative for me for music, because that's when I got into punk rock. And so now it's just kind of like I just like if it sounds good to me, I will fucking listen to it. I'll save it to my Spotify. And so really it's just kind of like a lot of my drives from work is just me hitting shuffle like 15 times until the song comes on that I feel like I either need to hear, or a song comes on that I can just vibe to.
That's how I am. I am also polyamorous. Like, because I have a playlist that I call Pumped Up Writing, and it's like, because no matter what, I need the song to be upbeat. That's all I need. I just need it to be upbeat, like either fast paced, happy lyrics, some kind of instrumental that like makes me feel awesome. Like I have all of that in my Pumped Up Writing list. Like the songs in it consist of Paradise City, 2019 Guy by The Gentlemen. We got Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker, Flirtin' with Disaster by Molly Hatchet. We got Dirt Off Your Shoulder, Lying From You, which is Jay-Z and Linkin Park.
Oh, dude, that was a very formative album for me.
Oh, you mean like how there's Numb and Encore by the same two? Yeah.
Yes.
Snap Your Fingers by Lil Jon and E40 and Sean Paul. Then, of course, I have Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick, as well as Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Like, it's just all over the place. And then I scroll all the way down. I got Big Energy by Lotto. I got Feel Good Drag by Amber Lynn. Rebel Yell by Billy Idol. I got Relax from fucking Zoolander. Like, like, all over the place. I have 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton.
No, yeah, like I used to make like a bunch of like mood playlists and stuff, and I probably should, just purely for like being able to instantly have on tap like what I need to hear or what I need to listen to like, instead of like just basically putting my liked songs on, which I have like almost 5,500 songs saved on Spotify, and just hitting shuffle and seeing what happens and then skipping 15 times until something feels right. But yeah, like some days like I'll leave work all pissed off and tired, and it's like, I'm pissed off and tired, I want to listen to fucking I want to listen to Lorna Shore and fucking oh darn, I'm blanking on their name.
Mariana's Trench.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then other days I'll be like, I'm so pissed off and tired from work, I'm gonna listen to lo-fi video game songs. And it's very much like it's less that having a mood playlist for me would work, because then I'd be making like 15,000 mood playlists. It's just like, it's like, angry. I'm gonna put my like songs on shuffle. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, hold on, I just want to listen to lo-fi stuff for a while, and then I'll just go find a lo-fi playlist and just listen to that.
Oh, like when I hop onto my streaming playlist,
Yeah.
because my streaming playlist outright has basically every song that I need, like for lo-fi purposes, and it's all songs that I like anyway, so it just helps me out. Like all, because we have a speaker system at work. I connect to the speaker system, and I play like my streaming playlist, and then when everybody leaves, I go and I turn to my wife, and it's like, okay, what era of music do you want to listen to? And we'll listen to like an era of music or a genre of music, and I'm gonna tell you this, like, you could know the lyrics to the song. You could know it by heart. You could reference whatever movies or like media has referenced it.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter how much you think you know it, somehow, some way, it's like, fuck, who's the artist? Fuck, shit. And it's like, damn, like, continues to like baffle me because, like, Mary was listening to Freebird, and usually everybody hears like the part that is in Kingsman.
Yeah.
That's the one that everybody hears. But like the build-up's happening, and she's like, I don't know. I don't know the song. And I'm like, you don't know the song? And she's like, no, I don't know the song. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and give you hints. And I'm giving her hints because like we do it as a game at work. And it's very fun to do because it passes the time very quick. So it's like, I go and I'm like, it was in Kingsman. It was also in Forrest Gump. Like it involved like the scene with Jenny standing on the ledge when she was super coked out of her mind. Like it involved the church scene in Kingsman where like everybody's just getting shot very rapidly by a British man. So like I'm bringing up all this stuff, and she's like, I'm still not getting it. And then like they say it, and she's like, it's Freebird. And I'm like, do you know who it's by? And she's like, I do not, because she's never had to care for the name of the band. And I'm like, it's Leonard Skinnerd. And like she even had difficulty with Paradise City as well, and Welcome to the Jungle. She knew it was Guns N' Roses, but she's like, I don't know the name of the song. And I'm like, no, it's like that happens. And it's like when I would do it, I'm like, I recognize the song, I've heard it before, but I don't know, like, you know, the name of the band, or I don't know the name of the song, but I can get either or. So it's fun. It's fun to be able to like just go and like kind of delve into like all of these other ones. Meanwhile, she's like, hey, I want to go and like try Disney songs. I want to try Disney songs. I bet I can get all of the Disney songs. The moment the Hunchback of Notre Dame comes on, she's like, I don't know what this is from. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, no, I've never watched Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I'm like, damn, that's surprising. Hell, like a Bambi song came on, and she's like, I don't know what the hell this is. Bambi's not known for its music. Like,
it's really not. It's known for the mom dies scene. Like, and that's about it.
Like I challenge people to actually tell me what the plot of Bambi was.
Fuck.
Yeah. A lot of fake Disney fans out there. It's like, what's the plot of Bambi? Tell me. And it's like, is it running away from the hunter? No, it's not.
What was the fucking plot of Bambi?
Hold on. Now I have to look it up because
that's exactly what I'm doing.
I know it's not involving the hunter. It's like, what is the plot of Bambi? Okay, joins his new friends, a rabbit named Thumper and a skunk named Flower, in exploring his forest home. As a boy, he learns from his doting mother and his father, the great prince of the forest, that there are dangers in the open meadows where hunters can spot the animals, and he meets a beautiful young doe named Feline. As Bambi grows up, he learns that there is tragedy as well as beauty in his journey in his forest world and on the path to adulthood. He's just fucking walking around the neighborhood. Like,
yeah.
That's the whole movie? He's walking around the neighborhood.
Just the deer bombing around with his buddies.
That's all it is.
That's the fucking, that's the plot. Deer hangs out with animals, the end.
Damn.
Damn you, Bambi.
Fuck you, Bambi, you ass. Fucking your dad was the great prince of the forest. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I vaguely remember the Prince of the Forest deal.
It's like,
He was like this big whole thing.
No, well, I didn't realize that it was Bambi's fucking dad. So Bambi's royalty.
Yeah, Bambi's royalty. Bambi's a nepo baby. If that's one thing you could take away from this stream, Bambi is a nepo baby, and I will fight fuckers on it. God damn it!
There we go. Now it's clipped.
There we go.
Bambi's a nepo baby. Dude, I love how it's like spineless, grateful, bimba. What the fuck? Bimba. Bimbat?
Bimbat? Bimbo?
It's Boshi time.
It's Boshi time.
Oh, the Bambi's a nepo baby.
God damn it. That's great.
That's something I never expected to hear.
Yeah, no, I mean that certainly is a sentence.
Because it's like a lot of like the old Disney movies, like Dumbo, Pinocchio, like those ones, like they do have a generalized plot. Pinocchio wants to be a real boy and is learning what it means to be like, you know, a real boy.
Dumbo wants to fly.
Dumbo wants to fly and like overcome trauma. Bambi's just like, I'm bum fucking around with my friends.
Yeah.
Around the damn neighborhood.
Bambi's the fucking Friday of Disney movies.
Man.
Bambi's the Clerks of Disney movies.
Okay, so like a Bambi
skunk selling weed out front.
just has the beanie and the jacket on. Like it's like what, Flower, Silent Bob?
Yeah, Flower's definitely Silent Bob, and the Thumper is just like
Jay.
$15, little man. I need fan art now. I need Thumper and Flower as a Jay and Silent Bob, respectively.
I'm gonna. Okay, listen. If you're not gonna ask Forgotten, I'm gonna ask Forgotten to do that. I want it to be like all of Clerks. Like,
yes. Bambi's just in the back bitching. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Oh Jesus.
Like,
okay.
Damn. It also reminds me of like the Still Waiting movie. Like the Comedy Central movie for Still Waiting, where it's like, you know, doing the whole Batwing and the goat and stuff. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
My wife was a server before, or when I met her, and I asked her if that's how shit was generally ran, just out of pure curiosity and for the meme of it. It's like I saw Waiting. Is it kind of like that? And she's like, kind of. And I'm like, okay, but which parts? And she's like, if I tell you, you'll never want to eat out again. And I'm like, okay. I'll leave it at that.
Don't tell me how the sausage is made.
Don't tell me how the sausage is made. Well, she used to work at a Chili's in Florida, so.
Okay.
So Waiting in that aspect might be a documentary.
Where's my Waffle House documentary?
Dude, quick tangent, just because you mentioned Waffle House. And of course, this is only something that I, as a fighting game player, am like seriously hyper focused on. But one of the creative people from Tekken.
They're wondering about Waffle House.
Yes.
I saw some of that. I listen. I agree. I 100%
Waffle House
agree.
should be a stage in Tekken.
It should be a stage in Tekken. There should be a hurricane happening and everybody's still standing there. Like,
yeah,
like
there should be another fight. There should be another fight inside the Waffle House happening while you're fighting King in the parking lot. It
should mirror what you're doing. Like,
yeah, just between like one of the cooks and a customer.
And honestly, because like, you know how like the stages change.
Mm-hmm.
Like it should be that like somebody hits you guys with a truck, or like when the hurricane hits and it just launches you guys through the window, like the wind just carries you both through the window, and now you're fighting in the Waffle House,
Oh
And
my
like
god, yeah.
like there's just that one sassy server standing off on the side holding the like coffee pot going,
Everybody else is just kind of like in their seats, like panicked, like what the fuck do we do now? And then the one server is just going around like whatever, another Tuesday, I guess. You need more coffee? Then shut up.
Can I please get a waffle?
No, look at there's a lion-headed man fighting a robot girl who takes her head off. That's a little bit more interesting. Your hash browns are going to be a minute.
It's like they're just starting like a betting pool. Like,
oh god.
Like they erase the menu and they like put up some shit.
Yeah.
Somebody's just tagging in the background. It's like, oh, this person won like 2 rounds in a row, or like this person got a perfect, tagging their face on the wall.
Yeah, or like the match ends and like all the customers are like throwing their eggs at the guy who got beat.
You just see them in the background like getting egged, and meanwhile everybody else, like, you know, the one that won is like, yeah, I did it. And then there's like just some random homeless man that tackles them to the ground and obviously wins because it's Waffle House.
Yeah, God, we need to start a petition for Waffle House to actually give Tekken the okay to use them in a stage. I will buy that DLC. I'll pre-order that DLC.
That's $70 game material right there. Like,
that's abso-fucking-lutely.
If the Waffle House index should be in it, period. Like just outright the Waffle House index being the staple of that game.
Yeah.
But.
So yeah, a lot of my comforts are usually around music.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fair. You know, polyamorous, of course. Like,
of course.
Cool. What? Dude, have you seen like the one video where like somebody like they were at this one museum and like, you know, it had like this portion where it was talking about the natural history of animals, and like when it showed the one that like Mordecai is from regular show, and it's like they played the sound, and like when they played the sound of the actual bird, it's like nah, that's not what they sound like. They sound like this. Whoa!
Oh my god, yes.
God, I love that one. That was so good.
That's great.
Which feel like we could move into our next set. We have 3 stanzas to this haiku. So with that, we have for your content creation, you chose to be Gil Swampguy, your friendly neighborhood swamp dad who puts some thrills on the grill. What inspired the model, and what's the story behind it? I know you talked a little bit about it with the beginnings of the model, and I would like to be able to go and hear like a little bit more. Like what was the general inspirations that was going behind it, and like, you know, why are you sticking with this? Have you never thought of like branching out, or like, you know, it's like, because there's a lot of things that definitely go through people's minds, like, oh, maybe I should rebrand, maybe I like this more. What's keeping you with this? Like, I just want to go and like pick apart on that.
So I don't know. I feel like, because like, yeah, I could totally rebrand as like something else, but like Swamp Creature just feels right. It's just one of those things that I can't really explain. It just like, it's like, yes, I don't live in a state that's really known for its swamps, but like for some reason, just like with the OG model, like I just felt it. Like I felt like some level of connection. And then when it came to going from that to what you see now, or at least the first version of what you see now, that was it was kind of an accident, if I can be so bold.
By all means, be as bold as you need to.
Because I was doing a charity stream for the World Wildlife Fund. They were doing a thing for the oceans and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, swamp, ocean, aquatic things. Yeah, we'll run it. And so I played like a bunch of rage games for like to gather donations for the World Wildlife Fund. And Forgotten was like, I want to donate some fun things that you can set as like donation goals or something, and they're like model changes. I'm like, okay, what'd you have in mind? And they're like, well, for one of them has to be a female Gil. We'll call her Gail. and they sent me this drawing, and it was like very pinup esque female Gil Swampguy, and I'm like, I love this. This is awesome. Um, and they're like, yeah, it's like I wanted to do another one, but I wasn't entirely sure what you were thinking, and I'm like, what if I did like a slight immersion break? What if I just like made Gil look more like me? And they were like, okay, yeah, well, do you have like a reference picture if that's something that you are comfortable with doing? And so I literally just like took a selfie and sent it over. And then uh it wasn't even like a day, I don't think. I think it was like maybe a day max, like 24 hours max. And I got this back, and I just sent it to you in Discord. Um and I looked at that and I was like, it's like looking in a fucking mirror. Like that's like it's that is how I make this swamp creature character my own, is I just make it me. And like originally, like he just had a t-shirt, and I'm like, he kind of looks like a suburban dad, and I'm like, I am a suburban dad, and it's like, and they were like, oh, hold on, I got the just the thing floral shirt, and I'm like, okay, yep. And yeah, and so like we did the charity stream. That model did end up getting pulled up, and after the stream, I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to the old model. I kind of like this like a lot. I think I'm gonna stick with it. And like for the longest time, Forgotten actually felt bad because they felt like they pushed me into a rebrand, and I'm like, no, like this is the best. This is great. This is perfect. And so then I just kind of shifted from being Gil the Swamp Guy to Gil the Swamp Dad. And I also feel like, you know, with that, like it came at a time where I was kind of starting to get down who I was as a content creator. Because like I first got in, it's like, oh, maybe I'll try this kind of content. Maybe I'll try this kind of content. Maybe I'll try lewd content. And like none of that shit felt right to me. Not to diss anybody who does any of the other stuff that I tried, but it just wasn't for me. It didn't feel like me. And then I started getting into like, okay, well, you know, maybe if I kind of start focusing on a little bit of this and maybe drop that, and, you know, maybe if I start going about things this way instead of going about things the way that I have been, and maybe if I start doing this and basically just making all these positive changes, maturing as a content creator, then it only suits that it feels like the model also matures. And that's why you kind of get like that punk teenager slash like kind of like delinquent attitude from the OG model versus the dad that you guys have now.
And now, like, because it went from like that punk OG teenager into like the matured, okay, like, you know, I'm coming into being a dad, and now we have the I am a more modernized father. Like, and I love all of the looks because each one of them has something that is very specific to it that makes it unique. And that is something that I've greatly enjoyed involving it because all of them have been approachable. And I feel as if like that's a quality that every father wants, is to be approachable. Unless it's for like, you know, somebody trying to go and date their kid. At which point,
yeah.
At which point it's like,
yeah, no.
I'm not approachable. Okay, I have to be hard on you. Like for first like few times you visit, guys gotta weed out the weak ones, you know. But
yeah.
you know, if you stick it out, I may allow you to touch the spatula once.
But yeah, no, and that also, like with the model change and like me kind of starting to filter down, like, okay, I don't want to do this kind of content, or this kind of content is fun, but it's not really for me. And I started narrowing it down, and it's like, well, now I'm just kind of just playing the games that I really like, and that's all good and well, but I still feel like something's missing. Like I'm not really doing, like, not to say that I'm not doing this the right way, but I'm not doing it with my I'm not doing it with my chest. I'm not saying it with my chest. I'm not
you're not
doing
doing
it
it with your full chest. Like you feel
right.
like you've been streaming wow, this is gonna sound bad. Streaming at half mast, and like wanting
Yeah,
it to
that's
where
exactly what it felt like.
and
It's
it's like,
there's
listen, you
something
want the wind
missing.
in your sails.
Yeah, and I didn't know what my wind was, and then I started like kind of parsing it down, like maybe it's this, maybe it's this. No, 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 no. And then I was like, well, I like playing tabletop games with my buddies outside of streaming. I like talking about tabletop games. I love everything that has to do with tabletop games. What if I tried something like that out?
Because it's interesting that you bring that up, because that does lead into the next point. Because I remember you saying a while back that you were unsure about focusing on TTRPG content for your streaming, but it seems as if you've leaned to it in full force, aka you've got your headwind and are now able to go and make a proper course. What led, like, you've obviously said like what led into that, but can you explain like a bit more about how you feel your content has truly changed from when you started to now?
I think that came along with like just generally, like, it's like, oh, it's like, I mean, I've played over like Discord before using like an automated dice bot, but like what if I took the time to like maybe learn like a couple tricks about Roll20 and maybe bring some of my Discord buddies in and we played a game there. And it's like, well, how the hell would I go about streaming it? It's like, oh, quick Google search, you do this. It's like, okay, well, I need this other I need like the cool little layout that all the tabletop streamers have, like where it's everybody's got their own individual window, and then there's the one for the map, and it's like, okay, but I need all that shit. Okay. And like it's like, I don't even know if people are gonna fucking like this. It's like, but I feel like I'm going in the right direction, but I don't know if people are really gonna like, if this is something that people want to actually even see from me, let alone at all. And that was when Tabletop Month came about, and that was March of was that March of last year? Wow. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll run some one shots, and we'll, it's like maybe not D&D though, because everybody does D&D. I want to do other stuff. So, okay, let's see, what can I try? It's like, well, I've ran Monster of the Week before. That's pretty fun. Maybe I'll do a one shot of that. And then it's like, I ran a Call of Cthulhu one shot once for a buddy's Halloween party. We'll try doing that. And then I was asking some other people. I was like, hey, what do you guys think about, if I ran like a one shot for stream, what do you guys think? And somebody pointed me in the direction of Blades in the Dark, and I was like, what the hell is that? And they're like, imagine if Peaky Blinders took place in a town that was haunted by ghosts and surrounded by an electrical fence made of demon's blood. And I'm like, you've already sold me. I bought the book. So I learned that, and that was my third one shot. And then I was like, okay, but the last one has to be something, like, it has to be out there. It has to be like a banger. Not necessarily a banger, but it has to be completely fucking different than these other three. And I was like, something silly, something goofy, something rules light, preferably. And that's when I was like, maybe, what if I just made my own fucking game? And that's where Dadliest Game came from. And then I was like, okay, well, here's Tabletop Month. I've already got the people who are interested in playing. I've got them all lined up. I've got everything ready. And it's just a test run. We're just doing this for a month, and then we'll go back to the regular shit. And nothing will change. Nobody will like the tabletop content. It'll be, it'll be another one of those instances of, oh, I tried the thing, it didn't work out. Oh well. And that's not what happened at all. In fact, I think at that time, all 4 of those tabletop streams did better than any of my previous streams ever had.
By the way,
And that was my green light. That was my aha moment. That was when the headwind hit my sails. I was like, okay, no, it's this. This is what I'm supposed to do.
and with that, I also want to go and put up Dadliest Game because I have the conveniently have the logo right here. There you go. There's your that's the game. That's the TTRPG that you made, correct?
It is the TTRPG that I made.
And by the way, Curious Corvus EXE, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it.
Curious Corvus, thank you. Welcome in.
I am Undead Commander. I'm a tropical skeleton VTuber. I do all sorts of TTRPG content. I'm also a TTRPG author. You have caught me during my talk show Dead Air with my glorious and illustrious guest Gil Swampguy, whom of which is also a TTRPG content creator, and we're even talking about his TTRPG that he has done himself, Dadliest Game, as this is breaking down bits and pieces of what makes content creation for somebody who is a parent, who is taking classes, working, full-time parent, doing everything under the sun to be able to go and be who he is today on the internet, and how it is whatever advice he is able to provide as well. But thank you so much for coming on, and see you played some Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, by chance, do you have any interesting stories involving that you might want to go and share with the rest of the chat? Meanwhile, in the meantime, tell me more about Dadliest Game, because it's nice that we're segueing directly into each and every single one of them. Oh, you have lots of stories. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's what I like to go and hear. You may be interested in something that'll be a later topic, a certain open table of the project variety.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I wonder what that is too. Would you want to go and talk about Dadliest Game, or do you think that we should go and immediately pitch Project Open Table?
I can run Dadliest Game for a second. It's pretty quick.
All right.
But essentially, Dadliest Game was, like I said, it was that idea for during Tabletop Month, because it was mostly like a bunch of kind of horror stuff, and I was like, no, I want to do something lighthearted, and I created this game where you play as a suburban dad, no magical powers. You can't unless that is your interest, you can't fight for shit. There's nothing spectacular about you. You are a suburban dad by your own creation, and you go on what I call episodes, like a sitcom, and you just do all these wacky things. Like some of the Deadliest Game episodes that I've ran was where there was one episode where they had to build a downhill, one of those soapbox derby cars for their kids. And yeah, and so they ended up building it, and then literally the day before the race, the kid who was supposed to drive it had an accident and was unable to drive it. I think I said he sprained his ankle or something like that. And so it had to fall down to one of the dads to drive the car instead. And that was a wild episode, because there was I think there was something involving an old jet from the 1950s, and I think one of the other dads secretly broke off and made their own soapbox derby car out of an aquarium, and it was just chaos incarnate. And that's kind of what Dadliest Game it encompasses, is just normal suburban dads getting into these wild situations. I think in the PDF for the little booklet that I made, the 2-page TTRPG that I made, there's examples of maybe the HOA came by and took the family heirloom garden gnome that you had on your front lawn, and now you and your other dad buddies are going to go break into the HOA's warehouse and try to steal it back. Or there's one, a Christmas themed one. There's one neighbor who has this big ostentatious fucking light display, and it's awful, and none of you guys liked him anyway, so you're going to go and sabotage it.
Also, it's like a Meet the Fockers situation.
Yes, exactly. And so that's kind of the stage that Dadliest Game sets, is it's these it's kind of these abnormal situations that normal dads are thrown into, and you know how tabletop games go. Everything goes over the top, things go off script, and it's just a wild, fun time.
It's like I've dealt with my fair share of like tabletops like going like way out there, or just people like the players themselves making this very extreme and exorbitant like plan,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, is it gonna work? I don't know. I mean I wasn't prepared for it. We'll see what happens. And then like you
Oh
kind
yeah,
of roll with like what they're going for. I've
those are the best moments.
They are the best moments. Like, I mean, in the Chrono Core game, with, with us somehow like stealing something from every era, and it's just become a theme.
It really has, because you stole the cart that you guys got away from the guards with in Rome, and then you also stole the woolly mammoth.
His name's Tom.
Tom, you stole Tom. You guys swiped a bunch of shit from Time, and it's the funniest fucking thing, because like anytime that certain players are involved, I'm like, okay, what are they going to take? They always come back. They always come back with a trophy.
It's like it's for the speakeasy.
It's for the speakeasy, and like I love it. Like I'm not dogging it at all. It's for me. That's one of the funniest parts of every session is you guys just randomly deciding to swipe something, either because you think it would look good in the speakeasy, or the mission gave you so much trouble that you just needed that something to feel like you broke even.
We took that pug for a fucking reason.
You did take that pug for a fucking reason.
It's like I feel 100% vindicated for taking it. I'm allowed. But
you took their worship idol.
Yeah.
Yeah, because fuck them.
Yeah, fuck those guys. Like we stopped a whole cult and they still had it to where it's like, oh yeah, kiss this pug's ass. It's like, nah, dude.
This is mine now. Fuck you.
Nah, we're taking it. And here's your parking tickets.
Oh yes.
Which while we're on the topic of TTRPGs,
I thought you were going to say parking tickets.
Yeah, while on the topic of parking tickets, while on the topic of TTRPGs, what are some of your all-time favorite tabletop role-playing games, and what are some of your best memories that you've had when it comes to TTRPGs?
I mean, I think some of my all-time favorites, I think getting close to the top of that list is Monster of the Week. It's just such a simple system to run. It's a simple system for players to be able to grasp and get into. And every mission, for the most part, can be done in one session. And that way, if somebody just wants to try out tabletop games and see what the big fuss is about, I think that is a fantastic entry point into our ridiculous little hobby. So I definitely have to say that is very close to the top of my list. As far as moments go, God, I know I've had them. There's just so many. To be able to fairly pick one is near impossible.
I mean, I did say some of your favorites. So
I will say that, and a lot of these were very recent too. It's the ones that make me fucking feel are the one, because I usually am not the player. I'm 99% of the time I'm the GM, and when one of my players role plays to the point to where I feel what they're trying to instill into this imaginary character that they're talking to, I think those are the best moments. For example, you with Bruno talking to that guard in the mission in Rome in Chrono Core. I felt that shit. That was powerful. And on kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, there was a recent episode in Call of Cthulhu, which, minor spoilers if you haven't watched my Call of Cthulhu series yet, but one of the players was laid up in the hospital who had recently done some kind of sketchy shit, and the rest of the party didn't know if he could trust him. And so one of the other players had snuck in while the potentially traitorous character in question was laying in his hospital bed, kind of like drugged up from like the morphine and such. And while he was loopy, the character, who's typically kind of like a spineless coward, pulls out a gun and puts it to the traitorous character's head.
Ooh.
And nobody knew where this was going. Nobody knew where this was going. As soon as he said, I take the revolver out of my coat and I press the barrel against his temple, I legitimately felt like that cold chill go through my entire body. And I was panicking because I'm like, is this about to fucking happen? And after like a couple of tense moments, he pulled the gun away and put it back and left the guy laying in his hospital bed. And I'm just like, Jesus. That was so stressful for me, but also at the same time, like, that is probably one of my favorite cinematic moments of a tabletop game. It was just incredible for, again, one player's imaginary person is now in like this moral dilemma where he could literally put the other player's character out of commission. And I'm just sitting here like, holy shit, like just sweating in chills. And the group chat for the Call of Cthulhu was just lighting up like, what the fuck is happening?
Dude, like, okay, so I've had something similar happen. It wasn't in the regard of like, a player just outright about to die, but it's so with me, with my IRL games, like I know my friends really well, and they are like my college buddies. So this was involving one of my players. He's actually somebody who's a mod for me now. And he was playing a character known as Tovolar Cord. He's a Balaran, which is my setting as lizard people. And he was wanting to become a chosen, but he was doing it in a way that was against the general beliefs of his people. Because he had never really followed through with like a lot of their religious tenets and stuff. And he dealt with an actual chosen of a god. And the beliefs of the Balaran, just as like the quick synopsis, is they worship their gods because they fear them, and they believe that their worship is what holds them back from harming the world, because it seals them away, because they're gods. They're far too powerful to be on Chalunwa, which is just their name for Omen, which is the name of the world.
Right.
But like with that, when someone becomes a chosen of one of these gods, mainly of the evil gods, which is the 13, it's just a bunch of evil dragons. When you become a chosen of them, you are making the ultimate sacrifice of not only your safety, but also your afterlife, as you are willingly damning yourself to the 13 hells to be basically tortured, harassed, hurt, all of that by these evil dragons. But you're doing it to protect the world. And in life, you're drawing the ire of those gods, so they will not attack the world. They will not try to cause harm to anyone else. They will only focus on you. And how they do that, how they become a chosen, is they kill an avatar, quote unquote, of that god. Typically just whatever kind of dragon that god represents. The person that Tovolar was talking to was a full-blown chosen of Kiyohine, which is a river god. He is a river dragon, specifically a Styx dragon. Tovolar is a chosen of Siegfried, who is a dragon of greed. And Tovolar was basically bringing up, it's like, listen, I'm becoming a chosen the right way because I'm asking permission from that god. It's like, you have no real basis on your way being right. And it turned into, because the name of the chosen was Julie yelled at him. Like, because I raised my voice as Julie. It's like, you do not understand what you are doing. You have been outcast before, and you will be treated as an outcast now. You are welcome wherever you see fit, but understand this, Cord, that you wield powers that are granting power to that 13. They will cause harm, and you are delivering it. I suggest you change your course of action before I take one. I am an assassin, and I will deal with you as such. The only reason why I do not is I am under a pact with one of my crewmates. Once this month ends and you have not changed your ways, your death will be caused by me at my time. And Tovlar's like, Naomi, give him permission to kill me, if he so chooses. They were sitting at dinner, and he's like, try me.
Damn.
I will stand no matter what you do. And Julie didn't know what to say. Because it's like, this takes a lot of courage for somebody to go and stand up against the beliefs of his people when he's been wanting his people to not only like forgive him, quote unquote, like to actually welcome him back, but for him to be like, I don't need you. I don't need your acceptance. I know who I am. Because I feel like I matter for once.
Damn.
And him saying that to Julie, Julie's like, we will see. And later on, as they're fighting against these demons attacking a city, as they're fighting against like some of these like just cultists and all of that, Julie gains a respect for him and states, it's like, I see that you are using it for good. And I see that I am wrong. I apologize. And Tovlar is like, I forgive you, because that is who I am. It's like the fact that the player got to humble a powerful NPC. He rode that. He talked about that for weeks. That was his
absolutely,
favorite character moment.
as you should.
He's been playing D&D for like about the same amount of time as I have, like a little over 20 years. And he was like, I've never had a character moment like that. And I was super glad that I was able to give him that moment, to give him that chance.
Yeah, and I feel like that's part of where I really enjoy being the GM instead of being the player. Because being the player, yeah, you get to do the cool shit, but like being the GM, you get to set up this world, and you get to set up, you get to create these people that the players interact with, and you have the opportunity to make these kind of moments. Mm-hmm. And when your players come to you after the session and they're like, dude, that was a fucking great session, or this is probably the best one shot that I've ever been a part of, or just anything on that level, that is so goddamn incredibly validating of all of the effort. And it's why I keep doing it. It's why I like being a GM, is because I love providing people those moments to have not just like, you know, like a cool little story beat for themselves, but just overall just have a good time. And I think I just genuinely really like giving people that opportunity instead of wanting to have those moments for myself. I want to give those moments to people.
Because like it's the interaction. It's not even like the interaction itself. It's you make the set piece for the person. Like you make the set piece for the players. And what's fun is you get to see what they do with it. You're giving them unmolded clay. Mm-hmm. And you get to see what they make out of it. Like you can even just make a vague shape out of that clay. Just a generalized vague shape. And they'll come up with something that you didn't even think of.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting my friend Dan, after his character died of old age during a time skip, to not only escape from hell trying to save his character's girlfriend, but to proceed to make it back to the material plane and loot his own body at his funeral. And technically duplicate his equipment, which I... And we're like, Dan's not allowed to interact with the dead. He looted his own corpse, and he's a duplication glitch.
That's incredible.
It was so damn funny. Because, like, everybody just got done, like, saying, it's like, okay, we said our piece about him, all that stuff. It was very heartfelt. And then everybody left, and Dan shows up, and, like, he's wearing all of his equipment. And the party's like, hold on. Whoa! Holy fuck.
Whoa!
Brad! My Skilla brother! What is good? Oh my god.
Hello, Raiders.
Welcome in, Raiders. I am Undead Commander. I'm a Tropical Skeleton VTuber. I do TTRPG content, and I am also a TTRPG author. You actually caught me during my... podcast, my talk show, Dead Air, as I jabber my jaw and hold my mandible nice and tight with my good old buddy, Skeleton Brother from Another Necromother. Yeah, I love that.
That's gold.
I love that. That's good.
Stamp that on a fucking plaque.
Dude, that is bumper sticker material. That is what I need.
Yes.
But I'm with Gil Swampguy, who is another TTRPG content creator, and he's providing... Oh, thank you! Like, look at that. Nice art. Look at you. But, oh yeah, Artman. Yes. I thought it was, like, talking about our art for a moment. But, we're actually getting into... Feel free to use that as you see fit. Oh, I will most definitely do so, and on top of that, I'm going to give you credit, because I always give credit about the Vertebrother thing from Gridinad, who's one of my really good friends, that I actually went and met through, like, some other streamers, but... Oh, why, thank you, my good sir. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. But yeah, Gil is another TTRPG content creator, and we're talking about the nuances of being a parent, working, classes, and also streaming, being able to go and do that kind of family and work-life balance, the struggles of it, and we've actually gotten into a point to where I feel like a lot of people are going to appreciate, and that is us talking about Project Open Table. Now, before we get into this, Brad, if you have any after-stream care, please feel free to go and do so, especially since you were still playing Yakuza, which I know that, like, it's had its points of, like, getting a little grindy, especially with the fights. So if you need to do anything, feel free to go and do so. I very much appreciate you raiding on in, and thank you for trusting your community with me. You are one hell of a brother. So Project Open Table.
Project Open Table.
So this is our next set of questions. You founded this alongside a few other folks, and I think the audience would like to know how it all started.
Yeah, I mean, so Project Open Table was kind of born of the thought of all of the horror stories that I've heard from people who have, like, tried tabletop RPGs and maybe had a bad experience with the DM or another player, or people who are seasoned veterans who have almost quit the hobby entirely because of some of the bad stuff that's happened while they were trying to enjoy a game of make-believe. And I was kind of thinking about that long and hard, and I was like, man, it'd be pretty great if there was like a space, like a community of people who not only have maybe dealt with those issues, but also at the same time, like maybe they also want, like, a community that is very safe and inclusive and understanding and wanting to bring new people into this hobby, because it's a fantastic hobby. It's so much fun. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I could try to start something like that, but I sure as shit can't do it on my own. I need help because community building is not exactly my forte, and especially with something on this level to where we're going to actively try to make things make the safe place for tabletop gaming. And especially after hearing you tell me about your experience and how god awful that was, I definitely wanted to bring you into the fold as one of my fellow founders. And so that's basically the goal of Project Open Table, is by rigorously vetting not only our GMs but our players as well, and enforcing and trying to grow this atmosphere and this culture of positivity and openness, as the title may imply. I just want people to be able to enjoy tabletop games without having that fear, because those stories are also at the same time what drives a lot of people from trying them to begin with.
Yep.
And I absolutely hate that, because it's that saying, one bad apple spoils the bunch. And as much as that's as much as that saying is used, I mean, it's definitely true. And I know a lot of people that I've talked to and tried to bring into tabletop games, and they're like, yeah, but it's like, maybe, I don't know. Like my buddy was doing a session one time, and their DM did this. And, it's like, that sounds like really stressful. Or, one of my other friends was a part of this group that played, and one of the other players was doing these things and just kind of being a jackass without, like just kind of doing bad things both in and out of character. And that's the goal of Project Open Table, is to minimalize that as much as possible, if not eradicate it completely.
Mm-hmm. And Artman has like the very good point. This is the one that's like always been going around. No D&D is better than bad D&D.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's unfortunately for a lot of tables and a lot of communities very true. And like, I've even been part of tables where I was, at this point, I was just going because it was the scheduled thing to do, and I didn't want to let the rest of the players or the DM down. And despite me not having fun at all.
That is a hard truth that, like, I feel like people do need to know, and it's, don't let the table hold you hostage. Like, you may Absolutely. Feel bad for the rest of them, and like for the rest of the players, they might have not have done anything wrong. Hell, it might just be that the DM is somebody that you're afraid to confront, like involving some of these issues, or you have confronted them and they've done nothing to resolve it. You don't have to stay. You have no obligation to stay. It's not your job. You're not being paid to be there. You're just there. And even if you were paid to be there, you are still under no obligation to stay there. You can leave whenever you want. And it's fine if you feel a little guilty, because that means that you are human, that you understand that these are other people that are probably having the same experience, but nobody said anything. But all it takes is one. If you are able to be the brave one to stand up and walk away from that table when you're having a bad time, I can guarantee you that the others will feel a little bit more courage about it. And there's a decent chance that if that DM is truly like what the bad part about it was, that DM's probably going to start talking smack. And then the other people are going to be like, okay, this isn't the table that I want to be at. And they will leave too.
Yeah.
If they have any semblance of morals, they will leave too.
Yeah. And like, I very vividly remember being part as a player at a table, being part of a group. And it was one instance where the GM was like, okay, I'm free this night, can we make this work? And one person's like, no, I've got to work that night. And another person was like, no, I'm going out of town with family. And it was like, okay, well, there's three of us then. And then, the day before that day comes, and another person's like, hey, I just got called into work. I can't make it that night. And the GM blew up. and was like, all right, fine. Well, if nobody wants to fucking play or whatever, then we're not going to play at all ever anymore. And basically just completely canceled the campaign, disbanded the group and everything. And I remember my gut reaction being like, thank God.
Yeah, because if that's how they're going to act about like a scheduling issue, or just like a series of it, where it's not hurting anybody. It's just like, okay, we'll just find another time.
Right.
That's all
but
it had
like
to be.
the thing leading up to that though was like it was a bunch of like small things that were starting to like stack.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, like, oh, like they said something uncomfortable for at this part, or, you know, one of the other players did something that did not vibe well with me at all. And like, again, it was like, I'm just going to this because it's currently the only table that I have and I don't want to miss out. So, you know, I'm just kind of like sticking it out and maybe it'll get better. But then when the DM blew up and had that moment and just canceled the campaign, disbanded the group and everything, I was just like, oh, thank God, I don't have to leave on my own now.
It's like
And I'm like, I should never have to fucking feel like that.
nah. And that's where Project Open Table came in. And
Yes.
that's also where, like, I'm gonna go and ask this. This is a nice little follow up. What do you feel Project Open Table is going to do compared to what other TTRPGs haven't done?
I think that between me, you, TV Head, and Arcus, who are the 4 founders of Project Open Table, I only conceptualized the idea. But you guys have been putting in like a lot of work as far as like making all of the forms, helping create like all the rules, and just doing all of these things that are the building blocks to the foundation of what Project Open Table is, what I'm hoping it will become. I think what we're doing differently is that if you want to be a GM in Project Open Table, you have to apply for it. And you have to like tell us, like, you know, what kind of experience do you have? If you run into this situation, how would you react? And then even if we okay you as a GM, then that's just the entry level, because we have another role called Trusted GM, which means that we've seen you in action. We've seen how you run your tables, and we can put our stamp of approval and be like, look, if you want to have a damn good time playing tabletop games, this is a guy you go to. And I will stake, you know, everything I've worked for on this community on that. And I think that in itself is something that a lot of other tabletop communities don't do. Because I've been in a lot of other tabletop communities where somebody would be like, hey, I'm running this system in this campaign. I need players. Who wants to play? And like, that's kind of where it ends. But like with us, like the GMs, once they get their GM title, can then post and be like, hey, this is a system we're running. These are the kind of content warnings or the things that you'll find in this campaign that I'm going to warn you about up front. That way there's no surprises and nobody gets, you know, bum rushed with bad feelings because I brought up a topic that you're maybe sensitive to.
Yeah.
This is when I'm expecting to run this. This is how long I'm planning on run this. This is a one shot. This is a campaign. This, you know, it's getting down to the nitty gritty details. So nobody is surprised when, you know, when it comes time to play the game. And I've never seen that in any tabletop community.
Usually, like, other tabletop communities are very wild west about how they
absolutely
handle themselves. It's like, oh, just people will just start posting about like games that they have, and like some good ones are going to be buried underneath like probably a good one, or like they don't try to have any kind of safety tools in place to protect people from a potentially bad time. We're not going to be perfect. I know Project Open Table is not going to be perfect, but we are striving to at least make it to where it's not only safe enough, but we have enough checks and balances in place to where if you do have a bad time and you come to one of us about it, and like it's not even necessarily like you needing to provide evidence, because that's not always going to be the case. The thing is it will eventually turn into, it's like, okay, you're saying that you're having a bad time. Completely understand. Is everybody else in the group feeling that way? Yes? All right. then what we're going to do, we're just going to remove what the central problem is. For the time being, we're going to talk to them. We're going to go and bring up like that we have heard complaints and that we're trying to go and just instruct on means of resolving it. If they continue after a solid instruction from a moderator or another trusted GM or one of the founders, then that is where it's clearly going to continue being an issue. And we're going to handle it from there, where we will have one of our trusted GMs pick up the game as the new GM and help finish it off for you so you can go and feel as if you have a satisfied ending for your character and the story that you were in.
Right. And on top of that, we have a system of like a tracker of it's like, okay, well, this GM did this thing and this is how we resolved it. And, we're constantly checking each other. And like not just us founders versus the GMs or us founders versus the players or GMs versus the players, like us founders are checking each other too.
Yep.
We, especially the founders, are holding ourselves at the highest level of accountability. And we are passing that accountability holding on down the line to ensure that, like, maybe this person did cause like a little bit of an issue. And like we told them, like, hey, maybe don't do this thing anymore. Maybe instead try doing this. And like we're never going to try to drag somebody down unless they absolutely fucking deserve it. But we try to offer some sort of level of constructive criticism to help them maybe bounce back from it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the tracker in place to where, like, if it ends up being like a repeat thing, then we know, okay, well, then maybe they shouldn't have their trusted GM title anymore. Or maybe they shouldn't have their GM title anymore. Or maybe they shouldn't even be part of this community that is trying to break all of these horror stories and all of these bad parts that you hear about from tabletop gaming. And maybe they shouldn't just be here at all, because we don't need that kind of energy. We don't need the negativity. We don't want it. We want people here who are trying to make a positive change in the community of tabletop gaming.
And if we become big enough, and this is the hope anyway, as we have started small and we did that on purpose, so then we don't overwhelm ourselves with like trying to have this come forward. And we've had a lot of success. I've run quite a few games in Project Open Table for people, and I know Gil, you have as well. And Arcus, I know that Arcus went ran one. But like we ran quite a few after its initial founding. And something that I will say, and we've actually gotten quite a few members too. But I will say, like, if we do become big enough, and like I said, that's the hope, to where like, we become, I'm not gonna say a mecca for people to go and like be like, oh, I can just immediately head here. We'd appreciate it, but don't want it to where like we're the sole source. We want it to where other people are able to go and do the same.
Right.
But I'm fine with resource sharing in that regard, to where it's like, hey, here's the accountability tracker. Here are the people that like, were bad apples and we don't want them to spoil the bunch. We can inform other people, like other like communities, about the behaviors, and in hopes of like, hey, maybe it can be corrected, because people can learn to not be shitty. Like you are able to unlearn bad behaviors. You are able to change, and no longer be a curmudgeon. And that's kind of what we want to aim for down the line in Project Open Table, is that we can help other TTRPG communities with this by being like, hey, this person was a problem in our community, we had them removed. I see that, like, it's like if they do join yours, I'm just gonna tell you, don't usher them away just yet, but keep an eye on them and make sure that, like, everything's all right.
Yeah, we don't want to start like active witch hunts or anything.
No. We want it to where like people can still be held accountable, but they should still be allowed in the space to at least unlearn bad behaviors, or at least to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're going to make those changes. If not, they're probably going to see continual resistance, and that's unfortunate to see because TTRPGs are for everyone.
They are 100%.
And we want those people to be able to feel like they can play whatever they want, play whatever game they want, as long as it's not harming the fun of others at the table, let alone harming the fun of the GM, or even the GM harming the fun of the people at the table. Like, we want it to where it's very inclusive, and that's the primary premise of Project Open Tables. We want this to have a level of inclusivity that truly is truly breaks like the stigmas behind the horror stories that are far too common in the TTRPG community.
Yeah, and also with that, like, a lot, from what I've seen anyway, in these tabletop communities, a lot of them like to focus on one system or another, where at Project Open Table, if there's a game you want to play, you'll find somebody to play it with.
And if you have a game that like you've been wanting to play and you've never known somebody to play it, and you're like, hey, does anybody run Lancer? Does anybody run Lancer? It's like, we have a guy. We have someone that loves Lancer and would most likely love to run it, but you gotta cooperate with them.
Yeah.
You gotta cooperate with the GM on that. But like, you can be like, I want to do this. It's like, okay, I've never heard of that TTRPG. I am a trusted GM. Do you have a group already in mind, or is it like with other people here in the server? It's like, I have a group in mind. How's that? It's like, how about this? You go and you let me know. Like, you give me about a week to go and look into this. Like, look into the system, kind of understand it. You make sure that you go and get your group together. Have it as, like, you know, whatever chat on the side, doesn't really matter. Make sure that they're aware. And I will do a vibe check where we're just in a call doing something that's not TTRPG related. I just want to be able to get an idea of the vibe and then go from there. Like, that could be like the safety measure that trusted GM takes. But obviously we're going to want to do this with like people who are in Project Open Table, as that helps us in regards to providing safety for everybody involved, so then we know like that there is accountability to be had as opposed to it happening outside. But we are not going to be like, no, you can't run for other people outside of the server, because that's a no. It's like, no, you can. It's just for us to make sure that you're all safe and that we hold our GMs accountable, people who have the player role, make sure that they're held accountable, because we can't just put into the tracker, it's like, oh, so-and-so, whom of which is not in the server at all, we can't have a moderator talk to them about their behavior because they're not in the server.
Yeah.
So it's preferred that they're in the server.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, so kind of like delve away from this, I do want to go and ask, what are some TTRPG content creators or personalities that you would love to play in a game with or run a game for?
Oh, jeez. Damn.
If you have a lot, you can name 5.
I mean, so they're not primarily tabletop people, but they are people who have played tabletops before, multiple times. 3 of them at least are the McElroy brothers.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I want Justin, Travis, and Griffin at a table for sure. And then I think also, I guess it goes without saying, the other 2 being like Brendan Lee Mulligan and Emily Axford from Dimension 20.
Yep.
I think if I have to pick 5, those are my 5.
That's fair, and that's for you to run for?
Yeah, or like if I were to play in a game that was ran by Brendan Lee Mulligan, or that was ran by Griffin McElroy, who, like, honestly, like, my GM style is very heavily kind of based on Griffin McElroy and how he ran the Adventure Zone for balance and for Amnesty. because he and I kind of share like the same style of like, yeah, we have our haha goofy fun moments, and all right, fine, fuck it, if you want to roll for that, do it. I'd like to see this happen. But also at the same time, like being able to create those moments where it's not all funny haha. And like I would be absolutely lying to your face if I didn't say that there was points in the Adventure Zone that made me fucking tear up and cry. Especially the ending of Balance. The ending of Balance was a fucking sucker punch, but in like the most beautiful way. And so like to like be able to like even play in a game that was ran by Griffin, or play in a game that was ran by Brennan, and like rub elbows as players with Emily and Travis and Justin, and hell, even bring Clint in. I love Clint in the Adventure Zone. He always makes like the most like hilariously enough, he always makes like the most like dad like characters, and it's the funniest shit. So yeah, I would say 5. For a +1, Clint McElroy.
That's fair. That is fair. I actually really love your answers. Honestly, it's like, because mine's more run for as opposed to playing a game. Because I'd love to run for you at some point. I would love to run for you. I'd also love to be able to run for Arcus. My one friend, Elandari Kamori, I'd love to be able to run for them. In terms of other D&D like TTRPG content creators, because that's just outright 3. Let's see, I actually have some on hand. Let's see here, because it's a lot of them are from the Smiling Mimic, because I would love to be able to run for Lubar. Obsidia is another one. I'd love to be able to run for River as well. Yeah, like that's really about it in terms of like TTRPG content creators. There's also Dean Doge. I would love to be able to go and run for them. Ouija Boo, it's another one. Like, the idea of being able to go and run for like other TTRPG content creators, as said by somebody that I don't really talk to anymore. It's like a chef sampling another chef's food.
Oh yeah,
where you're really just getting like a taste of their style. And for me to be able to go and run for people that I highly respect in the TTRPG community would be amazing for me. Like, for me to be able to go and do so, because those are all people that I view as major personalities, and in my mind, like heavy hitters as content creators for TTRPGs. And it does say a lot, because it's a bunch of people that are more relaxed as players and as GMs. Like, they are people that enjoy being able to run, and they enjoy being able to play, but they don't have it to where it's like the rules are the rules. Like, they like seeing them bent. They like seeing somebody read in between the lines. Like, those are all content creators that I feel like are underrated in the TTRPG space.
Right.
Like, as nice as it would be for me to play in like a Brennan Lee Mulligan game, a Matt Mercer game, and a Bria game, for me to be able to just be in any of those spaces, I feel like I wouldn't deserve it, so to speak, because there would be so much pressure.
For sure, yeah.
But for me to run for people such as them, I feel as if I'd be like, damn, I need to bring my A game.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna fucking cry. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I would
Like
cry.
if I ran a game for my five, then that I feel like I would, I I feel like I would have to bring every freaking bullet in my arsenal.
I would, as somebody who's an improv DM, I would probably actually write everything.
Same, yes, same.
And with that, something that I do want to go and ask: what are some words of encouragement that you could give people who are afraid to jump into the TTRPG space?
I think best the best kind of thing that I could say about people who want to try out tabletop games is kind of going back to the reason why I started Project Open Table is it and it kind of applies to really everything is you always hear the bad shit the loudest. And know that that's not even close to like how it always is. Because like, yeah, you'll hear about some horror stories, but those are typically like very few and far between. For the most part, if you have friends who are playing it and you know they're decent, they're good people, and you know the person running it is good people, then you're probably going to have a really good time. It's just that like I said, like there are a lot of players who get driven away from playing tabletop games just because they hear about the bad shit that happens at the table.
Yeah.
But I want to assure you that that is not even the majority of the case. That is a very, very small percentage. And a small percentage that with Project Open Table, I'm hoping to squash out.
I know it's like, in terms of the advice that I would be able to go and give to somebody who is like afraid to try TTRPGs, it's not that there's something stopping you. It's not that like there's not a table that would be available, because the bright side of being new is that you're a blank slate for a system that deserves you.
Yes,
and
100%.
the nice part with that is when you learn that system, when you're a player for that system and you express interest in that system, there will be people that will treat you like a saint. Because not in the sense of like they're going to worship your feet, but they're going to be like, I've been waiting for a player like you. Be what horror stories are afraid to talk about.
Absolutely.
And to kind of go along with that, and this is something that like I will exemplify with Gil. I always hated being a player. I had hated it for so long, and I tried with a GM before Gil, and it got me to start liking it again, but it wasn't because of the GM. I had a bad time altogether with that GM, but I enjoyed role playing and playing with people that I consider friends. But the GM soured the experience. I loved the character. I loved the interactions they had with the world. But the whole thing was tarnished. And lo and behold, the next GM I had was Gil. And I was afraid to be a player again. Because I wasn't having a good time. I played with Gil for one game, like the initial start of me playing Bruno Wild, and I had a blast. It rekindled hope in me enjoying being a player. Now for next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, I'm in a game. For every other Monday, I'm in a game. Like, I'm playing in games as opposed to just running them. And I thought that would never happen. And all it takes is one good experience Just because you have a bad one does not mean that it's over. You can get a flat tire. Flat tires can be replaced. You can hit a speed bump and worry about that sound underneath your car. That can be replaced. That can be fixed. Nobody is wrecking your car because you shouldn't let someone else wreck your car. You shouldn't even wreck your car. You're only allowed to park it.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
And be sure to go and park it down at Project Open Table. But yeah, it's basically like don't stop yourself.
Yeah.
Like you will find an experience that is a positive experience, one that you will 100% be able to enjoy. And I'm honestly pumped for Project Open Table. I'm pumped for what Project Open Table can do. And with that, that's where I have to go and ask Gil, you have any big plans for Project Open Table?
Well, as of right now, Project Open Table is application only. We started off with the 4 of us founders choosing 2 people from each of our respective communities to kind of come in and act as like the beta testers, just to see how everything would shake out. And that turned out pretty well. So then we opened it up a bit, and now if you're in my server or Undead server or Arcus's or TV Head server, there should be somewhere in that server where you can find a link to fill out the application to join us. But I think I'm pretty pumped to say that I don't think we're going to need those applications for much longer. Just seeing from all the people that we've brought in and all the games that we've ran so far and how everybody's been interacting with each other. We haven't had drama. We haven't had bad players, bad GMs. We haven't had anything of the sort yet. And just seeing how smoothly everything's going, the next big step I feel is going full public. And I think that is coming very soon.
Mopsy in the chat. What do you mean, Gil? I'm right here. I'm the worst.
You lie.
Lies and
hold on.
slander.
I'm gonna fucking hold on. Since we're on the subject of, coming into tables and, having your first legitimate experience at the table, Mopsy has tried tabletop games before joining Project Open Table. And if I recall correctly, their games, either they didn't, the sessions never finished, or they got completely sidetracked to the point where they weren't playing anymore, or they had played something out and nothing shook out. Nothing. So essentially, when I ran Monster of the Week, my most recent Monster of the Week session, it was kind of, in a way, Mopsy's first full session playing a game. And Mopsy was a killer RP, killer at roleplay. They learned what their character could do, and they did it with great success. And I don't want to assume, but I think they had a great time. And to further that statement of joining tabletop games for the first time, in my current Pathfinder campaign, one of the players, Ace Glurk, has never touched tabletop games in their life. Not once. And I ran a Pathfinder one-shot, and he expressed a little bit of interest in it. And I was like, okay, well, come on in. We'll see how you like it. Now he's in my ongoing campaign that I think the next session on the 26th will be episode 10. And he has been deep in Pathfinder 2nd edition. He was telling me about the changes to the remaster before I even got a chance to look at it. And he's always messaging me like, hey, what if I took this item and I combined it with this ability and I added this to it? It's like, what the fuck? I didn't even think of that. So, yeah, to Undead's point, it just takes one good session.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ace, all of Ace's tabletop experiences have been with me GMing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ace didn't play anything up until a different Monster of the Week one shot. And then they were in that, and then they were in Kids on Bikes, and then they were in the new Monster of the Week one shot.
And see, it's just you are, and that's why I was emphasizing. It's like you are somebody who's a very positive role model in the space because you've provided to people new and vetted amazing experiences at the table. That's what you.
Oh, and Chrono Core. Ace joined the Chrono Core campaign too.
Mm-hmm. As a hatchet wielding granny.
Hatchet wielding granny. Did you see that episode yet?
I have not. It was on like while I was in the middle of helping somebody.
Oh, you're totally fine. No, it was chaotic, but Ace shined really bright in that.
I heard some of the role play and I was super excited about it too.
But yeah, and like that was Ace's 4th time at a table.
And that's the thing that I'm enjoying involving Project Open Table is that it's also helped me find new people of different walks of life, of different experiences that bring their own unique seasoning to the burger that is the burger that is TTRPGs. And I like being able to go and I like being able to be a part of Project Open. Like I'm happy that you invited me to be somebody who is a founder of it, like one of the founders of it. And with you and I working on that logo together, which is backed up in the center, it's like I was providing design construction with Gil as Gil was like formulating his ideas and putting them forward. But we definitely like made this into something that I think we can be very proud of, and I am very proud of it.
Yeah, like just seeing the early things that have been happening in Project Open Table, I'm already over the moon about it. And I know that once we open our doors to the public and we start getting in more people who want to contribute to the positive culture that we're trying to create here, it's just up from here.
I know it's like a primary thing that I'm intending on doing because I know that I'm focusing a lot on like doing one-shots for Project Open Table because I do my own stream games. I do intend on at some point after finishing up my stream games. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. After I finish up like the stream games for my setting, and then just kind of focusing on like long form campaigns, like outright full blown campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for the positive too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've basically moved finding players for my one shots from my personal server to Project Open Table, and once one of the campaigns that I'm currently running ends, I will be starting a new one, and I will be picking players from Project Open Table. What campaign that is, I haven't fully decided yet. I have a pretty good idea, but we'll have to see how some things shake out.
True, very true. I know it's like I'm gonna enjoy making doing a lot more Project Open Table based not only content but also interaction, because whenever we get in new people, like Gil can attest to this, whenever we get in new people, I'm usually one of like the first ones to be like, no, what, I can quickly run a game. I can run a game for some people, get them get an idea of who they are, what they about, who they is. Like I just immediately come up with something, post it, it's like I'm good for people.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of like the big thing that is through the pipeline right now is the near eventuality of Project Open Table going full public. If you would like to get in before that happens, I don't know where it would be posted in your Discord, Undead, but if you're a member in my Discord, if you head to Tabletop TTRPG General, it's the third most recent post that has the enrollment form that you can fill out and I'm constantly checking that, checking the GM applications and everything. Um, and yeah, we're if you want to get in before we go full public, then that's where you can find it. Is like I said, either my Discord or Undead's Discord or TV Heads, Arcus's,
I would actually like to
wherever.
go and say that mine is the most recent announcement in my server in the announcements channel under server content. It
There
is
you go.
the 10th, my 10th commandment. That's in it because I have like first through 10th in it. It's the last one. It has the link right to the form.
Yep.
Otherwise, in announcements, it's the only pinned announcement. Clear back in let's see, February 22nd, 2024.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
So head over there if you're in Undead's community, and if you want to join us before we go full public, we'd love to have you.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to be able to run for you. I'd love to be able to play under you. And same thing most likely applies with Gil. Clearly
Absolutely.
I'm going to speak for him because I'm allowed to. I'm the host here. But other than that, Gil, is there any kind of closing statements that you'd like to be able to go and make? It could just be involving like some dad advice that you want to go and provide to people. Like it could be involving TTRPGs, content creation, or just general life advice.
I think the best advice is just to be good to each other. Like it's free, it's easy.
Mm-hmm. That was what we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah. If you be good, if you can't be good, be careful. Tell the paramedics everything and the cops nothing.
That's what's up. Let's go. It's like, but like
I think that's legitimately like my go-to dad advice is if you can't be good, be careful, and if you can't be careful, tell the paramedics everything and tell the cops nothing.
Yep. I like that philosophy though. And this is where we make it into the segment that I've done for every single Dead Air episode. This is where I provide Undead advice to the guest. So, Gil, is there anything that's like on your mind, something that like maybe you've been struggling with, an issue, a problem, something that you just need like an outside voice coming on in to be able to like help out? Just anything of the sort.
I don't know. I mean, like we kind of touched on it earlier, but I am I'm very quick to give compliments and to boost people up and to shine a spotlight on others. But it's very much a different story when other people try to do that for me, and I don't know if it's either like my inability to just take a compliment, or if like I feel like it's undeserved, or I don't know, but that's something that I actively fight like to this day, and you've seen it earlier.
Which what I can give in that regard is what's holding you back is not you now.
Right.
It helped mold you into who you are, but the bad experience gave you the caution to deal with it. The caution to be able to understand that other people deserve it. But it doesn't mean that you're undeserving. You are somebody that is more than capable of not only giving love, but receiving it. You receive it every day from your wife, from your son. You receive it from your friends, and from people that you genuinely have as close. You're not undeserving of love, and you're not undeserving of compliments. You receive them all the time, even if it's just a gesture or action. It doesn't have to be words. It doesn't have to be some kind of object or some kind of asset. You, in and of yourself, are an asset of love. You are somebody that, as I have said time and time again, the embodiment of what a good role model should be. And because of that, that is where I am outright telling you that whatever is going on in your head, whatever is causing you to feel like you don't deserve the compliments that you receive, whatever is outright informing you that these nice actions that are happening to you, you feel as if you don't deserve, you know it's wrong because you tell your friends who feel the same way that it's wrong all the time. And you are your friend. And what I don't like is my friend being bullied by themselves.
Damn. Damn. Yeah.
I love you, buddy.
I love you too, buddy.
Now, who are you raiding?
I don't know. Who are we raiding?
Well, you're the guest. I want to go and have it to where it's your pick. Got anybody that you feel as if deserves some love and attention?
Let's see. I think that. Oh boy, there's a couple people that I mean everybody that I follow on Twitch I think deserves it for sure. You know what? I was hyping them up earlier for all of their art contributions that they've ever made to me. So I think they deserve some love. I think people deserve to see the Sam Riegel to my Matt Mercer. So I would like to send everybody over to Forgotten.
All right.
Who is currently playing Oxygen Not Included.
I don't think that they're going to be expecting the sheer numbers. All right, and let me with the. Oh yeah, hold on. There we go. Going to be bringing on in the Skelly raid.
Skelly Raid!
Skelly raid!
Skelly Raid!
Which I would like to go and say thank you all so much for watching and stopping on by. Thank you to Brad and Curious Corvus for the raids. Very much appreciated, as well as all of the follows that occurred. Thank you to Gil, whom of which has been an amazing guest and is the reason why you should continue doing TTRPG content, why you should pursue TTRPGs, because bad experiences can be washed away with one Gil. That is all that it takes. One good experience, and he is a good experience. He's a good time, a good swamp dad, and he definitely has thrills for the grill that he can put on for you. He serves
Thank
them
you,
up.
buddy.
Well done. Or with a little bit of pink. Really dealer's choice.
Medium rare. Medium rare is the only way to go. I will hear nothing else.
No, fair. But give Forgotten some love. They deserve it. Skelly raid. Deuces, everybody.
Deuces, night.